Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome, everyone, to the Spotlight. As you heard from Big Dick MLJ, I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. This is the Spotlight. Thank you for joining us here on this beautiful Thursday morning. Jensen, how are you, buddy?
Doing fantastic, dude. Doing fantastic. Can't complain. Ready for a good episode today. Good day at work. Good night. My brother's birthday. I got to shout that out. Happy birthday, Brian. My brother. I'm always talking about him on the show. It's his birthday today, so hopefully I'll be seeing him a little later tonight. But yeah, man, how you doing?
Good. Happy birthday to your brother. You gonna go to Dave & Buster's? Damn it!
If it was Wednesday, like yesterday, we probably should have. But I was watching Dynamite. But yeah, it's the Wednesdays is the big key to that because it's the half off games. It's hard to justify the. Now I've been saying for a minute, and this is no plug because I'm definitely not endorsed or sponsored, but I know that Dave & Buster's. I heard JR is incredible. Dave & Buster's, damn it, on commentary the other day. We talked about that a little bit last week, but what they need to do if they want to bring in the wrestling crowd to those. They need to do half-off games when the AEW pay-per-views are happening. They would actually have people turn up. I have no idea what kind of traffic they got for this last one. They might have been packed out. There may have been no one. I have no idea. But if you could pair half-off games with wrestling fans getting to watch the pay-per-view there, that'd be a real home run, as they'd say on Always Sunny. It's a real home run. But anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. I'd be interested to go to Dave & Buster's to watch an AEW show, to be completely honest, but I don't want to do it at full price. So that just is what it is.
They do the live pay-per-views, don't they? Yeah,
they do the AEW pay-per-views. They do WWE pay-per-views. They might show some select UFC pay-per-views. We're over here just plugging the hell out of Dave & Buster's, but hey, if y'all hear us. I'm a big fan. I put up there's proof, video proof and photo proof. Dave & Buster's. Last time I was there, which was actually months ago, I put up 44 runs on Baseball Pro, which is a game where to win the jackpot you need 16 runs. 16 runs is difficult. I put up 44 runs last time I was there. So if y'all want to give me some claps in the chat, I very much appreciate that self-esteem boost this morning. Thank y'all very much. And if anyone from Dave & Buster's is watching, we're looking for sponsorship right here on the Spotlight, so we can definitely have that conversation.
Yeah, Dave & Buster's, damn it.
The best is how there's a 15-second pause, and then I don't know if it was Taz or Excalibur, whoever says, or it was Jericho, I think. Somebody else is Dave & Buster's, damn it. All right, I'm gonna give you your new catchphrase, JR, because you can't tell in the clip if he's annoyed with Dave & Buster's or if he likes Dave & Buster's. You can't really tell.
Jim Ross is the best, the absolute best. Dave & Buster's, damn it. We got a big show, everybody. Not Paul White. Later on, around 11 o'clock a.m., we have our interview with Bobby Flacco, who just won the Scenic City Invitational Rumble. He'll be competing in the Scenic City Invitational tournament coming up. When's the tournament, Jensen? May?
Yeah, in the summer. I don't know the exact date. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I know it's in the summertime. It's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They air it on IWTV. Unless something changes, I'd imagine it'll still be on IWTV. Yeah, Bobby Flacco, great interview, great guy. There's a lot of buzz for this one. I saw a lot of people from New South in action and stuff, retweeting the link yesterday and stuff. So yeah, really good. Mike from Indeed says in 127 days. I don't know I can't do that kind of math in my head right now. The exact date when that is, but if you want to give us the date in the chat, we'd appreciate that.
Yes, Bobby Flacco just won the SCI Rumble. Talks about motocross. Very, very fun discussion about some motocross. His traveling to South America and everything that he has ventured down there, talking about working in the WWE ThunderDome as well, training under AR Fox. So Bobby Flacco, if it's somebody you've not heard of just yet, keep an eye on him. And just won the SCI Rumble. He's going to do big things in the Southeast region this year, and probably beyond the Southeast region this year as well. So really fun interview with him. We did about 40 minutes with Bobby. That'll be airing around 11 a.m. Eastern. But Jensen, let's get into the world of professional wrestling, and let's start with your favorite topic.
Want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
What is the sunglasses? Where did these come from?
I just want to rock the Cody Rhodes shades a little bit. The American Nightmares.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
got the American Nightmares going. Let's go. We're gonna talk some
WWE.
WWE.
Of course you have the hoodie on. Of course you have the hoodie on. The sunglasses.
Don't worry. I've got more Cody Rhodes merch rolling in too. Like I keep dropping stuff and I keep buying it, and just like the boxes keep coming, and I can't wait until he wins the title so I can get some, like, you know how they always put up like when a team wins a Super Bowl, like minutes later there's like the merchandise you can buy. I'm gonna the night of WrestleMania when that stuff goes up, I'm buying the Cody Rhodes as the champion T-shirt, the finish the story T-shirt, the do the work T-shirts. I'm buying the memorial memorabilia with the plaques and the piece of the ring and the whole. If there's any sweat or his blood or anything on like something that they can sell to me, then like, you know, send it on over. I'm about to be spending multiple paychecks on Cody Rhodes wins the title stuff at WrestleMania. Anyways, let's get into the topic, Jeremy. Why are we wasting our time talking about this?
Kai legitimately threw me off. He's wearing them the whole time. I was like, wait, was he? No, he wasn't. I don't think so.
I like that. I like that.
I thought you could convince me that he was. I was like, yeah, sure. Actually went back and looked at the on demand. I was like, what was he actually? No, he wasn't. Get out of here, Kai.
Dude, I like that. Dude, thank you, Kai. That's a good bit too. I like that a lot.
All right. So Jey Uso has made his decision. This is what we're going to talk about. It'll of course lend itself to Cody Rhodes. Jey Uso made his decision. He came out at the end of Raw. He kind of skirted by Jimmy. He hugged Sammy, who was in the aisle. And Sammy, they threw up the ones, why are we throwing up the ones here? That's acknowledging Roman Reigns. What are we doing here? And then Jey kind of stepped to the side, super kicked Sami Zayn, grabbed him by the beard, threw him in the ring. Sammy got attacked by the bloodline until the American roller coaster made the save. And let me tell you, Jensen, I know you love Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
My wife, when Cody Rhodes' music hits and he comes out, we're sitting in bed watching this, and she just goes, "Oh, get the fuck out of here." Is it because she's so invested in Sammy that she loves Sammy. She thought Sammy should have won. I mean, I'm with her, but sure. She's not a fan of Cody Rhodes. I got to tell you, not a fan of the roller coaster. I'm sorry that there's this beef between my co-host and my wife. I know which side I'm on. But yeah, not a fan of Cody coming out. And then he comes out, the Usos scatter. We had the big promo segment on SmackDown between Cody and Roman as well. Gotta say, your boy kind of got cooked on that one. That was at least a 10-8 for Roman Reigns on that. No amount of facial tics was going to save Cody on that one. But recap the week in the world of Cody Rhodes, Stephen Jensen.
Well, first of all, dude, you know I love your wife. I flew out to y'all's wedding. I have the little magnet that you sent me for like being at the wedding. It's on my fridge in my living room. Like, I appreciate y'all. It isn't my fault that she has bad taste in her favorite wrestlers. That isn't on me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. If we were listen, I get the whole Sami Zayn. I get it, dude. We've talked about that week after week. I understand the how hot he was with the crowd, and he's still getting good reactions and stuff, and I get it. But Cody's also my guy, and that's what I'm here for. And like, I'm not alone. There's a lot of Cody Rhodes fans. The pop he's getting is very large. It's getting more and more, especially with that whole whoa, like everyone's getting behind. I was surprised they didn't catch on more in AEW with the way that they like to sing along with stuff and cheer and be a part of the show. So like, I think that as far as like his week, I guess I liked him and Roman face to face a lot. And I know we're gonna get more of that. And that's kind of the stuff that I was talking about before when people were kind of over the Heyman and Cody back and forth, I was like, well, wait until we get, Cody and Roman, because then I think we're going to really be off to the races here. Like once they start getting personal with one another. And I love that Cody, mentioned him and his buddies, doing this indie show that 10,000 people showed up to, but they can't name the show. And then they can't, of course, name what it led to with being AEW and all that stuff. But I like that they're acknowledging, which they have to, by the way, in my opinion, because there's a lot of younger viewers. You need to say something?
No.
Oh, acknowledge. Sorry.
Yes.
I see. Which they need to educate the fans on, I should say. That might be newer fans or younger fans, or might not know Cody, honestly. Like there's fans that have watched WWE that have started, since before Cody returned and after he had originally left WWE. There's going to be people who have no idea that only watch WWE that are like, last time I saw this guy, he was Stardust. Like, what's happening right now? How did this? Why is he this guy now? So, like, I think that you have to do what they're doing and let the crowd know how big of a deal he became when he left, and that's why the version that we're seeing of him now is so credible and so good, and why he came in and all of a sudden this Stardust / the mustache guy / the guy who just never really the third member of Legacy. They always highlighted DiBiase more than Cody in that group and stuff, and like there's all these things that I think these preconceived notions that the WWE audience probably had of Cody before he left, and if they didn't follow his journey outside the WWE and they're just seeing him again now, it'd be very confusing. So I like that they're pulling the curtain back on this stuff. I love that they're pulling the curtain back on the Dusty stuff as well, because there's a lot of realism in that too. Dusty Rhodes, the whole Dusty's Kids thing, that was a gripe of Cody's before he left WWE originally. He used to say that in promos as well. Like, y'all are talking about Dusty's Kids when they're talking about, like Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens and these guys. And he'd be like, I'm Dusty's actual kid, and you got me dressed like a fucking space clown. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? That was the actual quote. It was like, so it's like, I love how they've framed all this, because it caters to someone like me who's followed the whole journey. It caters to the hardcore fans, like the indie type fans or whatever, that don't even really watch WWE, but they're watching now because they like Cody and they're like, fuck it. Yeah, I might not like the rest of the show, because I know I'm not alone in that either. There's a lot of wrestling fans that love Cody because they're fans in AEW, they're fans on the indies, or just fans of him in general. So and that's why they have the whole Cody countdown and stuff on Raw. They're literally telling like hardcore wrestling
Jensen.
They're like, hey, listen, you might not really be interested in the other 3 hours, but like when Cody's on, we see that y'all are tuning in. So anyway, I liked all that. I liked the back and forth with him and Roman. I think we're gonna get more of that, the next few weeks. And I really liked the other story going on. It's all tied together, which I've been talking about week after week after week as well, which I keep saying is just as important as Sammy losing and Cody winning and KO and Sammy reuniting and this whole thing. There's all these pieces we're seeing backstage. We see Cody and Kevin Owens in the background during a segment where Cody is clearly telling him like some sort of game plan, or like, get back with Sammy or whatever's going on. Like Cody's mediating this. Cody's the one at the end of the show who came out, and that felt so much to me in a great way. Like I was watching like mid to late WCW or something, where like the end of the show, the heels are beating up the babyface. One dude comes out and clears house. The white meat babyface clears the ring, and the fans are actually cheering. Like there's no indifference. There's no silence. They aren't booing the good guy because it's the cool thing to do. They're cheering the good guy for coming out and saving the other good guy. And we're trying to unite the three biggest good guys that they have to take down the stable of bad guys who has been, on top for the last 3 years. So that's a long roundabout way of saying I really, really like where all this is going. I think it makes total sense. And I think we're getting exactly what we've been calling. Usos are going down at Mania from KO and Zayn. Cody's taking down Roman for the world title. And then we're off to kind of a new landscape in the WWE.
The new Shield. The indie Shield. I guess they all came from Roman. Didn't really come from the indies.
Well, Roman.
Cody uniting Sammy and Kevin. I see a lot of people kind of complaining about this, of like why is he the mediator here, and can't they figure out their differences? Sometimes you do need that mediator, and Cody, whether you like it or not, it kind of makes sense. Right. I tweeted this after Monday, and I I truly believe they're going to go this direction with things. Kevin Owens was the guy who told Cody when he left WWE, get up with these two guys from California, the Young Bucks. Like they'll take care of you. They'll take care of you on the independent scene and just kind of follow the road, get up with them and everything. And we know what happened with all of that, right? That was Kevin Owens doing. So I think Cody's going to bring that up. And he's not going to mention the Young Bucks, but like they did with All In, like they're going to work around it. And he's going to be like, you know what? You gave me that advice. I'm giving you this advice. Like, don't turn your back on this person. Like we all go through stuff. You know, he thought he was being accepted here and what happened, but you need to trust him. And you got to come, you're stronger together to take down the bloodline. I'm also just going to throw this one out there. I don't actually think they're going to bring this up in the story. Who was the first person to bring up AEW on WWE television? Stephen Jensen.
To actually say AEW on WWE TV? Yeah. Was it Owens? I don't know. Is that what you're getting at?
It was Sami Zayn in
really?
That stupid electric chair. Nobody remembers this because it sucked. The electric chair segment, Corey Graves' like hot seat on Raw, like right after AEW had started. And Sami Zayn is like, I could even mention AEW. And it got like kind of oohs and ahs from the crowd. So Sami Zayn was the first person to mention AEW on WWE television. Are they going to bring that up? Probably not. Does it kind of play into a bigger story if you want it to? Sure. Like you can mention that if you would like to. Yeah, nobody remembers the segment, Kai, but everyone kind of remembers that Sami Zayn was the one who said it. Yes, the electric chair, whatever the hell they called this thing. So there are pieces at play with all of this. You could even, if you wanted to mention Sami and Kevin's contract came up at the same time last year, and they both re-signed with WWE. Everyone thought they were going to go to AEW, especially in the case of Owens. They thought they were going to go to AEW, reunite with Young Bucks and everything, and they're going to be the great El Generico and Kevin Steen again. This is what we've been waiting for. It's like, nah, we're not. We're actually going to stay here in WWE. And then Cody, of course, came to WWE. You can play that up if you want to. I'm not trying to fully make this an AEW versus WWE things, but it is a factor in all of this when it comes to Cody Rhodes because he was the one who left and came over to WWE. If you don't want to bring any of that up beyond what they've talked about with All Out, there's still the story at play of just the human element of Kevin and Sami fighting, their history of being friends and enemies and friends and enemies and everything. And sometimes you just need that guy of brothers fight, knock this shit off, get together and go after the people who you're really mad at. Go after the people who wronged you and take them down. Because if they don't have their titles, if they don't have all their gold, if they are not the heads of the table, what do they have? Like we already saw the cracks there. What do they have if we continue to strip them of that? So it all makes sense to me. I understand if people are mad that Sami Zayn should have won the title and they don't want Cody Rhodes involved in this at all, but they've chosen Cody as the guy. They sealed away the envelope 5 months ago that Cody Rhodes was going to win at WrestleMania and that Kevin and Sami were going to win at WrestleMania. They've had some good segments so far. Yeah, I think Roman got him on SmackDown. I thought Roman's promo was better. I do want to ask you about the involvement of Dusty Rhodes and how much they are bringing up Dusty Rhodes, because Cody said like he didn't really want to mention Dusty in that promo. Roman, of course, brought him up, did the impression, which Cody has said before, like not a fan of people doing the impressions. And in the case of Roman, it makes sense, right? He's got the history with Dusty. In the case of Seth Rollins, it made sense. Got the history with Dusty. In the case of Baron Corbin, did it make full sense? Maybe not. I don't need them overusing Dusty in these promos. What about you?
Yeah, no, I understand like both sides of wanting to and not wanting to include it. Like on Cody's end, he's probably thinking like it's almost kind of almost kind of cheap heat, really, because it's low hanging fruit. It's easy to like attack Cody because like he misses his dad. Everyone loved his dad. It's gonna always hit everyone in the feels. So it's like an easy way to like for someone like Baron Corbin to get heat in something meaningful against someone like Cody. But like, I understand, and also Cody probably wants to do this on his own in a lot of ways too. I get that also. Like obviously Dusty's a big part of his story, but this is also equally, if not more, about Cody doing all these things along the way and all these sacrifices he had to make and stuff, and like him winning the big one for himself too. Like because a big part of this also is him leaving AEW, him leaving an EVP job, him being a mentor and like running a company and being like the leader, to being like, listen, I don't have to do any of that stuff. I just want to focus on me and just become the champion finally. And so and also Cody's looking at it like, he's even said this in his promos. He looks at this like trying to win a sports world championship. Roman, this is like a personal ego, head of the table type thing as well. He wants to be the best, but like he's also this has a lot to do with like ego and power as well. And Roman and the bloodline have made it very personal, whereas Cody keeps saying, or he's like, I'm just trying to be the world champion. That's all he's trying to accomplish here. Finish the story. So there's a lot of layers to it, but I understand why they include Dusty in it. I don't personally have a problem with it, but if Cody does, I understand why he would. So there's all that. And then there was something else I was going to bring up that had to do with this too. Oh yeah. Also, I want to bring this up, and we've talked about it in past weeks, and this is important. And this is a big part of why they're having Cody be the mediator here, is because it's way less likely the fans turn on Cody now before WrestleMania, at WrestleMania, if they know he's aligned with Sami and Kevin. Like he's on their side. It isn't him versus them, who's better and who's going to, like, Sami had his shot. Cody's getting them their next, or helping them all get all of their shots at WrestleMania. And, so it's that's a big key to this too, is like he's aligned with Sami. He isn't against Sami. If he was like against Sami and the fans had to really choose between the two of them, that causes a lot of problems, I think, because I think Cody gets a lot more boos. You know what I mean? So I think it's really smart how they put them together as a team. So you're rooting for them collectively.
See, I think there could be backlash of, we wanted Sami, now we're getting Cody, and they are aligned together. Like we don't want this. We actually don't want them aligned together because it almost overshadows Sami. Like I think this is my wife's problem with the issue, is like, why the fuck is Cody coming out here and saving this man? Like, what does Cody have to do with all of this? The thing is bless my wife and other fans like her, the fans are still cheering for Cody Rhodes. The vast majority of fans are still cheering for Cody. Maybe there's a small sector on Twitter of like, oh shit, here comes the savior Cody to do godlike things. But the ones in the arena are still cheering when Cody Rhodes comes out. And that's going to matter more than the small sector on social media. It just is.
Yeah. Well, and also, to all these points we're both making, they had, Sami lost to Solo Sikoa on SmackDown. Like they're trying to cool off Sami to a degree. So that
I don't like any of that.
But I just saying, I understand what they're doing. I think it's pretty clear. Like because his reaction on SmackDown wasn't anything like what he's been getting recently, I don't feel like. But his reaction on Raw was big. So I was kind of a little confused because on SmackDown they didn't, this sing along with the song was way quieter, and like it just seemed like the whole thing fell flatter. And like I said, he straight up lost. I mean, I know there was some cheating or whatever, but like he straight up lost to Solo Sikoa. So I think that that's pretty clear what they're doing there, right? Like they're trying to like kind of more or less like train the fans to be like, okay, look, like Sami, it isn't like, don't turn on Cody. We have not chosen Sami. Sami's like, it's not Sami, but like you're still gonna get a big moment from Sami. But like, I just think this whole thing has been like, and it has to be carefully crafted because we all saw what happened in AEW to Cody, and like that's a very possible thing to happen again at some point in his career, where we just see the fan base totally turn on him, and then what? And So I
Cody in AEW a little bit different in the fact that like he was obviously an AEW original and they loved him at first and they kind of turned on him because of the new wave that came in. It's like, oh, we have CM Punk now, we have Bryan Danielson now, we have Adam Cole now. Like we love these guys. And the turn happened a little bit before that. It started to get a little bit, but like Malachi comes in. It's like, oh, like all these WWE guys came in. And it's like, okay, we have these great wrestlers and we love the elite. We have all these great in-ring guys. Cody, bless him, not the work rate guy that these guys are. I think Cody is in some aspects like a better worker than some of these guys, but not just the high intensity work rate guy that those guys are. Now, different environment for Cody where he is that outsider coming in. I don't think there's much like there's going to be much like turning on Cody anytime soon. And I hope I honestly hope I'm correct in this because I don't like when, oh, he's got the title now we're just going to boo him because, well, he's got it. Fuck this. Okay. We saw what we wanted to saw. Now we're just going to boo this guy. Like we don't need that. And, A-Shock has kind of mentioned in the chat of like, oh, Sammy could have won and then it would have booed him. Like, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think had Sammy won, then they're like, oh, okay, well, we saw the story. Now let's boo this person. I don't think that would have been the case. I think they would have rode with Sammy through WrestleMania and maybe even beyond that. They're definitely trying to cool off Sami Zayn. They did that with the loss. They did that with the attacks. They did that with Cody being the big savior of everything. It's like, oh, this guy needs help now. So look, they picked who they picked, and they picked the American roller coaster, right? I know you're happy about that, Stephen Jensen. Not everybody is fully happy about that, but I will say the people that are unhappy about that are just kind of the vocal minority with this stuff. Because if you listen to, I'm even sure the vocal minority, I think it's just the minority because the vocal is still really loud in those arenas.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, that's just kind of where we're at with it, like I mean, I can't say enough times. It's nothing against Sammy. It's nothing against Owens. Nothing against any of these guys. It's just this is a new opportunity for the WWE to have a new face of their company. And another thing about Cody that this is going to annoy certain people that I say this, especially if you're outside the US, and I completely understand it. But like, look historically at the WWE and who they've chosen as the face of their company. You go back to Hulk Hogan. He was the red, white, and blue. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. USA. Kid for the superhero for the kids, right? You go farther. Bret Hart was kind of that. He was like a Canadian version of it, but he was like the good guy, the like the national like guy who was like proud to be where he was from and like good for the good message to the kids, all that kind of stuff. Then you go a little farther, the Steve Austin Attitude Era stuff. The message there was a little bit different, but that was a different era.
He was going against authority, though. He was going against authority.
He was going against authority for sure. That it resonated with the crowd. It's what America wanted at the time. Was like that was what represented how the late '90s felt. The whole vibe of the late '90s was what Stone Cold Steve Austin was bringing to the table. Then you go a little bit farther, John Cena, very similar to like the Hulk Hogan and a lot of the kind of stuff we're talking about. The hustle, loyalty, respect, the HLR, the never give up, the saluting and the Marine and USA and the tribute to the troops and representing America. I mean, it's like there's a lot of similarities in a lot of these guys. Look at Cody. He's got an American flag tattoo basically on his neck. He's the American Nightmare. He's, they tried this with Lex Luger, the the Les Express, the whole thing. That one didn't work out. But I'm just saying, like, there's a trend here of like Cody fits what they've been looking for a long time in a top baby face. They just haven't had that guy to fit that exact mold, and Cody is that. Even though down to the bleach blonde hair that a lot of these guys that become the top guys have, it just is what it is. Like Cody, he's your next kind of like Hogan Cena guy until they can figure out who they want that next guy to be, like 10 years for the next 10 years after Cody or whatever. But for now, that's the guy who you understand what I'm saying, Jeremy? I think the crowd, it's like he's your new, he fits that Hogan, that Cena mold. And that's who they need to take down Roman, because they need somebody big to do that for them because of how well they've built Roman and how great Roman's done for himself. And they need somebody, they got to change it up. At some point, you got to have a babyface champion. And you got to have a babyface champion that you're hoping that the kids especially are going to really attach to. And the kids love Cody. It's proven. So like, there's so many reasons why Cody is the guy, so much beyond me being biased and like being a fan of his. Like, it's just, I completely understand business wise why Cody has been chosen for the spot.
He got this transition into our other spotlight from WWE. He got the rub from John Cena on Raw as well. A very pointless thing, honestly, after Cena does his promo with Austin Theory, which is the actual spotlight. But then Cena, after he's at the top of the ramp, and he's just like, let me introduce you to a guy who does the work and is about this sport and everything. Cody Rhodes, ladies and gentlemen. And then they do the hug and the big arm raise, and it's the big passing of the torch and everything. Like, if you didn't believe Cody was the next John Cena and the face of the company before Monday, this gave you everything you needed to know right here of John Cena literally embracing and endorsing this man and after his segment on Raw. That tells you everything you need to know about that. As far as the other part of this with John Cena and Austin Theory on the mic, I'm always happy to see my guy John Cena on screen. Yes. Austin Theory comes out and he challenges him to WrestleMania for the United States title. And then John Cena says no. And then he eviscerates this man. Absolutely eviscerates this man. And by the way, I think a lot of people knew this was going to happen. No knock on Austin Theory, who I'm not as down on as I feel like everybody else is, because I think everybody else puts him at like below ground, like John Cena did on Monday. But like, I see what's there, and I see what WWE sees in him and everything. I don't think he needed immediate John Cena comparisons or anything like that. But I noticed last week when he did his backstage promo, I was like, this guy, he ain't there. He ain't there on the microphone. And if they are going to have him in the ring with John Cena, with a live mic in front of a Boston crowd, he's going to get destroyed. John Cena is going to truck this man. Because Cena, people have pointed out after the fact, Rock, Roman, Baron Corbin, anybody like he's stepped in the ring with the microphone, Cena doesn't give a fuck. He's going to run you over on the mic. And you got to be good enough to withstand that. Rock was writing down his promos on his wrist. Cena had this man so shook. Austin Theory, you could see it in the backstage segment. This man ain't ready for this moment. He ain't ready for it. And when they got in the ring and when Cena got on the mic, he proved he was not ready for that moment. Because no matter what Theory said, Cena just went for the throat. And he buried him of just like, if I beat you, you're fucking done. And if you beat me, you're fucking done, because then you got to come out the next night on Raw and you ain't ready for that moment to face that crowd, because they are going to eat you alive. So you don't win in this situation. And Theory tried as he might to stand back and fight back up against this. I actually didn't mind. The whole, you're giving up on the crowd type thing. I like that to bait Cena into the match. What I would have preferred is after Cena just killed him in this promo, Theory said nothing. And when he was about to turn and walk away, and then he started yelling back at Cena, he should have just beat the shit out of John Cena. He should have attacked Cena. He should have brutalized him. And he should have said absolutely nothing. And he should have let his actions speak louder on that. Because I think that would have resonated more than, hey, let me try to punch back at Cena here. Because then Cena, after Theory threw his jab, Cena kind of slipped it, maybe took a little bit, and then he came back with more haymakers, and Theory had nothing after that. You can't get into a microphone war with John Cena, especially if you're at the level that Austin Theory is at. I would have preferred if he just beat up John Cena like AJ Styles did, because he couldn't hang with him on the mic. But we're going to get the match. I'm sure the match will be fine. But now unless Theory does something in these next couple of weeks, maybe like, okay, you've done something to where it's like you won and things are good. But now it's you either lose to this man or you beat this man. And John Cena has already said, if you beat me, it does not matter because you've lost because you're not ready for this moment. I'm sure they'll try to twist it, turn it like, oh, he proved he was ready for this. It's like, I don't know. What were your thoughts on this, Jensen?
I mean, I like where it's going for one. Like, I like that we're getting Theory versus Cena for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania. I love that Cena brought up the whole crowd piping in the crowd noise thing. I thought that was really good. Yeah, talking about I mean, like a lot of it was really good. I mean, like you said, the main focus was the whole like you lose either way type thing, where like you said, you beat me, you got to deal with the crowd the next night. I beat you, your career's pretty much done, dude. Like you're I mean, which isn't really accurate, by the way. Like when you really think about it, like losing to John Cena, like that's, you know, he's still John Cena. Like it's not like people are going to think that you suck because you lost to John Cena. But I understand the idea here is that it's pretty much Austin Theory's putting everything on the line, and his kind of gimmick and character up to this point, anyways, is kind of like a House of Cards almost, in a way where like it just feels like he just barely skates by every time. Like his title defenses and where he's at, like it's just something happens or he cheats or whatever. It just feels like he doesn't just go out there and just beat people, right? Like there's always something that happens.
He needed Logan Paul at Elimination Chamber, like probably would have lost to Seth Rollins if Logan Paul doesn't interfere. Stuff with Survivor Series where I don't remember the exact finish, but I'm pretty sure it was off of someone else doing the finish, and then he got the pin off of that.
Yeah, so it's like it's a lot of that kind of stuff. I feel like with Theory, where even winning like the title, I think was the same kind of thing. And that might have been what you were talking about, but like it was like a triple threat, or something, right? And so like but that's kind of my whole point is, if Cena goes out there and just destroys him, then you're kind of like, oh, okay, this guy he does suck, and he just got really lucky, and like, yeah, I really know what we're doing here with this guy. But if Theory goes out there and like, especially if it's just clean, if he just goes out there and just beats John Cena just straight up, one-on-one, no bullshit, which I don't expect to happen, but if it did, that adds a completely different level of credibility to Theory, in my opinion, because then the fans, at least in their mind, they're perceiving like, I might not like this guy or how he got to this spot, but what am I going to say? Like, I just straight up beat John Cena. No bullshit. Like, what, you know, he must be good. So like there are ways to kind of like get around the whole lose-lose scenario, I think. But I've liked Theory for quite a while. Like I knew of him in Evolve back when he had to have been like 18 or 19 years old the first time I saw him wrestle. He's from Atlanta as well. So like I was aware of him for quite a long time. But he's always been compared to John Cena. I don't know if people realize this or not, but like Theory,
he's brought up a lot of these comparisons because he's the one in every interview he does, he mentions how John Cena like inspired him and everything. So I'm not saying like he was the one who like fully started this, but he talks so much about Cena being his inspiration that people just kind of, oh, okay, yeah, I can see the comparison there.
Which makes total sense given the age that Theory is, that he probably got into wrestling when John Cena was on top, and like that was his guy. There's a whole generation of fans like that, which it makes total sense. One thing that I think that they should bring into this story, by the way, that would up the ante, is you have Theory out there, maybe like next week or the week after. I don't know how available Cena is heading into Mania, how many times he'll be on like Raw, but I think a really cool story to add on top of this would be Theory's out there, Cena's out there. They're like going back and forth, and Cena whips out the U.S. spinner belt, and he's like, "I'll put this up. This is like winner. Like you grew up a fan of mine. Like this is what you want right here." And like Theory like marks out for it. He's like, "Oh my god, I can get that. Like I've always wanted that spinner belt." You know what I mean? And it's like I think that'd be kind of cool if like he lost. Like he doesn't, like Theory doesn't need to revive the spinner belt and take it out every week or whatever.
Sure,
but just like rules. Sure, but I think that'd be kind of a cool like kind of add on to this match would be if Cena put his spinner belt on the line in it and Theory just straight up beats him, And now Theory has like the claim of having that spinner belt, and like it's in his trophy room. You see like videos of him like doing like a house tour or whatever, and like the spinner belt's like, you know, above his bed or whatever. So like I just think that'd be kind of cool if like the spinner belt was involved in this, because it's US title, seen as synonymous with that title belt. And if Theory grew up a fan of that era, he would surely want to own that championship if it was the legit real deal from John Cena. So like, I just think that'd be kind of something cool that they could add to the story personally.
Jared makes a good point of the Theory arc is that he needs to grow up and believe in himself. And that's true, but he also needs to win matches off of that. And I do think he's going to beat Cena. It will be very much like, okay, so he beats Cena. Does he believe in himself off of that? Because he is going to have to face that crowd the next night. And, you know, how does he do with that? I don't think Theory is like some amazing promo. And I don't know how he would do against a crowd, a hostile crowd who's not happy that he beat John Cena. Maybe the crowd, honestly, which wouldn't be good either, is just indifferent that he beat John Cena. And they just don't care about Austin Theory. And they're just more upset that like, oh shit, Cena came back and wasted his match on this. Like that wouldn't be good either. So I get Theory's arc of like, oh, you got to believe in yourself and everything. But this is why I think he should just fired up against Cena instead of just cut another promo and then got cut down again. That shows some self-belief of, you know what, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to take your words. I'm not going to let you talk to me like this. Instead, I'm just going to punch you in the face. Because that's what John Cena would have done, right? Ruthless aggression. He smacked Kurt Angle. Like that's what John Cena would have done. So I think that's what should have happened in that segment. It didn't. Instead, Theory got destroyed, got neutered, and then then John Cena handed Theory's balls to Cody and was like, here, do what you want with these. And Cody just kind of squashed him even more. That's how the segment played out, right?
Yeah. That's a good analysis on that.
Let's move on to AEW spotlights.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show. And I think it's been a run of great shows.
Thank you, everyone, to tuning in to TBS for AEW Dynamite. Thank you, everyone, to tuning in to TBS for AEW Dynamite.
Oh, I saw you tweeted that a whole bunch of times. Yeah.
Just want to thank everyone for watching AEW Dynamite on TBS.
So those had to have all been like auto set up or something, right? And they just like accidentally unless
there were different tweets though.
No, I know.
Not the same ones. They were different tweets.
That's true, but like
I'm convinced. He tweeted it. It was almost like exactly 15 minutes. The first hour was a little wonky because it was like 8 o'clock, 8:26, 8:56, and then like 9 o'clock. Then it was like every 16 minutes. I'm convinced he just wanted to see the quarter hour numbers for his tweets of like which ones did the best. I'm here to report to everybody the 8:26. Thank you for tuning in to AEW Dynamite on TBS. The 8:26 tweet did the best numbers last night. So what does that have to do with anything? Don't know, but there you go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the spotlight as we talk about AEW.
Yes.
Big title changes this past week in AEW. We had 2 and then 2 on one title and then just 2 overall. Let's talk about the trios titles changing hands. House of Black defeated the Elite at AEW Revolution. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King are your new trios champions, and they will defend those titles in a trios triple threat match next week against the Elite and the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jensen, your thoughts on House of Black getting the trios titles, which you said needed to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they would have been just way too lost if they didn't win. Personally, I like the Elite better as like a team of wrestlers. I still think the Young Bucks, in my opinion, the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world. I understand arguments for other teams. I'm not here to debate that with other people right now. I'm just saying, for my money, if I could only choose one tag team to watch right now, I'd pick the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega, still one of, if not the best in-ring wrestlers in the entire world. So like the 3 of them, I'm always down for them being doing whatever. So them as the trios champions, I love because you are guaranteed incredible matches every time. Now that said, the House of Black, as I was just saying, and as you were saying, it was one of those things where Buddy Matthews is like super lost in the mix and pretty much has been since leaving WWE. Brody King, they've shown flashes for him with like the Darby feud and stuff, but also same kind of boat. Like, what do you really do with him? And Malachi, it feels like really since the Cody thing, he's really just been in limbo. And that's a long time ago now. So
almost 2 years.
Right. So like, it's one of those things where, and the Julia Hart, there was a long story that led to her joining the group, and it felt like they needed to do more with this group. There's 3 really talented guys, a talented lady, like they're a good group together, aesthetic. Listen, I'm not, and I know you're the same way. I'm not into the whole, I'm not into the magic stuff really at all. And that goes into the Bray Wyatt stuff and all that. But like just this specifically, like, I don't love the whole magic stuff or like the kind of cutting promos that don't make any sense type stuff. But what I like about House of Black, regardless of what I might not love about like the actual gimmick, is those 3 dudes can really go, and you're going to get great trios matches out of those guys. So I'm fine with them. I like them being the champions. I'm a little concerned about the trios titles, like hot potatoing so much already since they started them. But at the same time, I kind of like the unpredictability of all these trios teams are so good. And the idea of trios is so unpredictable that you got to tune in, because there could be a new champion every time those titles get defended, hypothetically speaking, because just so many different things could happen, so many different combinations of wrestlers and in-ring styles and stuff. Kind of keeps the fans on their toes, I feel like, and to a degree as well. So you're kind of riding that line between, credibility for the titles and also like unpredictability. But the consistent here is every single one of these matches for the trios titles across the board since the titles have been made have been great matches in my opinion. And I like the House of Black Elite match better than probably all, if not maybe one or so of this best of 7 series. So like, I love the match of the pay-per-view, and yeah, the House of Black felt like they really, really needed this. The Young Bucks and Kenny are going to be fine regardless of what happens with them. So like, I just feel like, yeah, to once again put a bow on it, I think House of Black really, really needed the win for a lot of different reasons, and I'm happy to see them get it because I think they're going to be good champions with that title. And also, one more thing I'll tack on to this: last night, you can see the value in those titles because Jericho Appreciation Society called them out. Elite won another shot, so it looks like it's going to be JS versus Elite to figure that out and stuff. So, there's a lot of high-profile people that are interested in being the champions too. So it feels like the titles matter, and the matches have been really good. And the House of Black, I think, are going to be good with those titles.
I thought House of Black needed the win. I didn't think they were gonna win, but I thought they needed it just to have something better to do because, like I've said many times, I'm not into their lore stuff and things like that. I think the title at least gives them a little bit more purpose and gives them they get actual challengers out of it. Like, okay, now we know why they're going after people. Now we have a better reason for why people are going after them and things like that. So it was good on that aspect of things. Obviously, as in-ring talent, they are all great. They're always going to have great matches and everything like that. I'm very interested to see where the Elite goes off of this because I think the Young Bucks might be better served in the tag team division now because that division has kind of taken a little bit of a hit. FTR being back is great, but the Guns are still the champions. I don't know how much longer that's going to last with FTR being back. The Acclaimed are still there, obviously, but the rest of the tag team division, and we just had, Jarrett and Lethal compete for the titles. Now they're competing for the leveled up international title and thing like that. We just had, like, they put together Danhausen and Orange Cassidy as a team, even though the best friends right there. I don't know what the state of the tag team division is, but the Young Bucks will certainly help solidify that a little bit. And I'd like to see singles Kenny Omega return as well, because I think he's be great, obviously, as a singles person. And I think there's a lot he can do as a singles as well. So I'd like to see that return. I'd like to see something we've seen Don Callis kind of get in the ear of Takeshita. I'd like to see something brew more with Omega and Takeshita, where Don Callis does kind of bring them together, whether it's as some type of tag team, which could be interesting, or some type of like singles feud based on just like, hey, let's test yourself. Let's see where you're at. And let's see where Kenny is at as a singles guy in AEW as well. I would like to see something like that. As far as the trios titles and stuff, like they've already established them as very important championships just off the jump, with the Elite winning and then the best of 7 with Death Triangle and the Elite. And now we've had the great match with House of Black and the Elite as well. The trios titles are fine. House of Black does give almost more storyline purpose, because with the Elite, is as great as they are of wrestlers, they're sometimes just always as a story there with them as trios guys. Obviously, I'm not knocking Hangman and Omega. That was one of the best stories in AEW history. I'm talking about so far just as during their like trios reign. Like they did a best of 7 reign, right? And then they faced Top Flight a few times. There's not always just like story purpose. And then House of Black stuff was largely just based on House of Black just wanting the titles. House of Black, whether you like the story or you don't with what they do, they're at least going to try to give you something of like, hey, we do our lore stuff and this is our purpose. Come after us if you want them. I think it'll add a little bit more just with the overall story purposes of the trios titles, on top of just we're going to have great matches and things like that.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. There's really not a lot more I think can add to really any of that either of us said. Like, I think we're both in agreement. They're going to have great matches. They needed the win. The Elite's going to be fine. I want to see Kenny and MJF at some point soon for the title too. Like if we're going to have Kenny as a singles guy, get him in there with MJF. But yeah, I mean, good stuff across the board. I'm looking forward to seeing what the House of Black does with the trios titles.
Well, they got the triple threat match next week. Do you think there's a chance that like they lose this triple threat match next week?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess it's possible. Like, I mean, that those titles have been going hot potatoing all over. Like, I mean, who knows? But I feel like you gotta do something with House of Black at this point. You got something more. So
I definitely think they should keep the titles, and you know, you got Sammy or Garcia there to take a pinfall if you need someone to take a pinfall. So I would like a little bit of stability to those belts, because in our other spotlight, we haven't had much stability when it comes to the AEW TNT title. We had Samoa Joe, who just won it at like beginning of February, and then he loses it to Wardlow at the pay-per-view, and then Wardlow makes it about 3 days with the title. Maybe it was 4. And then he loses it to Hobbs last night. So we have no real stability with the TNT title. I do think with Hobbs getting this belt, there will now be stability with the title. I think we're in for a lengthy Will Hobbs run. I hope we're in for a lengthy Powerhouse Hobbs run. What'd you make of this match last night and just sort of the hot potatoing of the title? And then QT Marshall getting involved and repaying his favor to William Hobbs. Yeah,
so starting with that, you know, that's something I had completely forgotten about because it was like half a year ago. Yeah. Which I don't dislike the you know, the thought process there or the attempt there. Like, I really do appreciate little like Easter eggs and stuff, little things for the hardcore fans to, you know, long-term storytelling that might not be shoved down your throat or in your face, or that you're reminded of week after week after week. The only problem with something like this is I think everybody forgot that this ever happened, because it was such like a small thing when it happened too. It was just kind of like a basically, if I remember correctly, right? Like basically like the Hobbs helped QT in the Nightmare Factory or something like 6 months ago. It was never really mentioned since.
It was Hobbs and the Factory aligned to try to take out Ricky Starks.
That's right.
The Factory kind of failed in that aspect. Like they punched Ricky and everything, but like Ricky ended up winning the whole feud. And QT said, basically, since we failed, I owe you a favor. And this was the favor 6 months later.
So on one hand, like, I respect the dedication to the long-term booking, because I'd imagine TK had made his mind up about this then. So you know what I mean?
So. So Will Washington's going to have more, but apparently the plan was to put the title on Hobbs kind of months ago. And so maybe they were going to capitalize on that whole aspect a little bit sooner than they did.
That would make, that's really the only thing that makes sense when you think about it. Because like, why else would you have any of that happen with them and Starks and him fail? You know what I mean? Like, so though I would totally believe if that's what Will's saying, or is whenever he says what he's going to say, if he hasn't already, I'd imagine that that's probably accurate as far as like, even if it was supposed to happen a little earlier, it seems like the long-term plan, and you get to kind of tell anyways that they've always had plans for Powerhouse Hobbs. It was just a matter of time. But so yeah, I mean, I like that they stuck with him. Listen, if it's me personally, I'd go with Powerhouse Hobbs over Wardlow. Although Wardlow, dude, he showed out last night. I'll give him his credit. Like, I'm one of those guys who's like not huge on Wardlow. And it's not even really his fault. It's just whatever the perception and ever since the MJF stuff and the booking and the Powerbomb Symphony and beating up security guards, it just didn't really fully click with me for whatever reason. But last night he did damn good, dude. That Swanton was badass. Like, he was out there bumping around and moving around great. And him and Hobbs, I mean, aesthetically they match up perfectly. They have like the same bodies, the same height. They were even saying on commentary, it's like, you know what I mean? There's so many similarities between those two guys. One day they'll probably be like a dominant tag team in AEW down the line or something together. You know what I mean? But like, I think that I like that Hobbs won the match. I was confused by the QT thing until I realized afterwards that there was the link there and why that happened. But I have no problem with Hobbs winning. I actually prefer how it played out because I really didn't want a long title reign out of Wardlow. And I loved Joe with the title, but I understand they're probably just trying to shift him more into just TNT title, or sorry, TV ROH. Title with ROH. Yeah. But like, so I like how this played out, I guess, at the end of the day. If the goal was to get the title on Hobbs and you didn't want Hobbs to beat Samoa Joe because it was heel versus heel or whatever, then I'm fine with it. But I'm like you said a minute ago, and I feel the same way. I'm hoping that that Hobbs is a long-term champion because I want them to reestablish the real credit. I don't want to even say credibility in the TNT title because the matches have been good. Go Darby as the champion, it was great, you know, and stuff. Like the title's always, and obviously Cody and Brody, the early days and stuff. Like I've always really enjoyed the TNT title, but I do think we need some more longer-term champions, and I think Hobbs could very well be that guy.
Chi-Town Spurs says QT is similar to Jarrett in that people online despise the guy and thinks he deserves nothing, but he gets a great heel reaction at the actual show. That's facts. Like QT Marshall, I think he's a very good worker. I think he's probably underrated because I think people just despise him for the sake of despising him. But you listen to a lot of the peers. He's obviously a great trainer when it comes to Nightmare Factory. Peers have respect for him and everything. I understand there's a certain part of the fan base that is turned off by him. I get all that. I will say I don't know if I want this to be a long-term pairing. I am fine if this is hey, I cashed in my favor. Get the fuck out of here. Like I don't actually like need you type of thing. I don't know if I like this as a long-term thing. I think Hobbs is good enough to stand on his own. We'll see if it does turn into a long-term thing, but whatever QT Marshall is going to do, people are probably going to hate it regardless. And hopefully I do hope that this does bring like real stability to the title and we get a good lengthy Powerhouse Hobbs run. I kind of thought that Wardlow was gonna be that. Wardlow, we talked about, he did a lot of media leading up to Revolution and everything, and he talked about how hot he was last year coming into last year after Double or Nothing when he beat MJF and everything, and then he was the TNT champion and things kind of cooled off of that. He talked about wanting to bring back the open challenge and everything, and then he of course lost his first match against Hobbs, so he didn't get a chance to do any of that. I hope Hobbs gets a good run, and I hope he reestablishes things. And then when the person, whoever it is that beats Hobbs, that becomes a meaningful thing for whoever wins, and then winning the title, and then Hobbs doesn't take too much off of that. Real quickly, before we move on, MJF's list. It's been in order so far. I don't know if you remember the list. Do you know who is? Yeah. Do you know who's next up on MJF's list?
No, I remember the majority of the people that were on the list, but I don't remember what order it was in.
So the order was the Pebble, which is Ricky Starks, the American Dipshit Dragon, which is Bryan Danielson, who shout out to Bryan Danielson, apparently stepping away. AEW is in the mud. They're fucked if they don't have Bryan Danielson on television every single week. And after Bryan Danielson was Warho, which is Wardlow. So if this list is in the correct order, which for the first two so far, it has been, it seems like maybe Wardlow is next for MJF. Is beating Wardlow? And granted, it took a lot to beat Wardlow. It was a 10 count. QT Marshall interfered. It was a power bomb onto the extra stage and everything. It took a lot to beat him. But is Wardlow next for MJF? I guess we will see probably next week when MJF has his rebar mitzvah and everything.
I love the idea of that, by the way. I got some yarmulkes right here, actually, as crazy as random as that is. I got some old school Power Rangers yarmulkes. These are straight up 1995 Power Rangers yarmulkes, y'all. Come. There you go.
You know, wear that during the rebar mitzvah.
Yeah, I will. I'll celebrate MJF's rebar mitzvah while I'll rebar mitzvah myself as well. So I am in bar mitzvah since I was 13, so I'll join in with MJF.
Take a picture of yourself watching the rebar mitzvah, like how WWE people watch the TV, like off to the side, like with the on,
yeah,
everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need that photo. All right, we need that photo. Let's get to the other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Ring of Honor is back. The Code of Honor is back. They had their television re-debut last week on Honor Club. Week 2 is tonight on Honor Club. And look, I thought this was going to be a 1-hour program, and then they announced about 18 matches for this thing. It turned into be like 2.5 hours. Wasn't mad at it because the matches were really good. We got some stuff established. The biggest thing being established is Eddie Kingston. I did say last week, I still believe this. Eddie Kingston deserves to be in front of live crowds and not lukewarm Orlando crowds. Even though they were good for him here, I do worry about in the future if Eddie's going to be the last thing on the show, how that's going to work out for him. But seems like we're getting Eddie and Claudio, and I'm certainly all about that. It was good to see Athena back on television as well. And, Mark Briscoe, he's got a program coming up where I won't spoil what the spoilers came out last night, but there's other stuff involving Mark Briscoe and who he could be facing at Supercard of Honor as well. So, I thought, honestly, as far as weekly television shows go, it was the best wrestling program. You're just looking for wrestling matches. Like ROH last week was the best wrestling program for me. How about you, Jensen?
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of great. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week, but they got a lot of great talent in there. And I'll also try to remember what they aired versus all the spoilers that I've read. So, like, I'm trying to stay spoiler free also and tiptoe around stuff like you are to not ruin anything. And that's what's going to be tough when we cover Ring of Honor because we know it's like when I talk about like MLW or like NWA or any of these companies where like they'll film so far in advance. And on the Weekender, like when I do MLW results, half the stuff that I'm reading right now, I originally did the spoilers for in like October or November. Like, I know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like, where are they on the show right now to where based on like what I've already watched? But dude, I love that they're doing something. They're doing stuff with Mark Briscoe. It looks like they're making him one of the focal points of the show, which I really like. I love the idea of Claudio and Kingston. There's so much realness to that, and of course the added layer with Eddie quitting AEW and everything. AR Fox getting a big spot there. It's just a really good. It's really good to see like the people that they're mixing into that. Takeshita being a part of that, like he could wind up. I could see Takeshita maybe becoming like the Ring of Honor world champion or something in the next year or whatever, and like that's what really propels him into being a bigger deal on AEW eventually. You know what I mean? Like you could really use this. I mean, that all ties together too. Imagine if Takeshita was the one to beat Claudio for that title. Like if all the storyline crossover with the Blackpool Combat Club and stuff. Also, when Danielson comes back, I feel like he's not going to come back to the Combat Club. I think they're going to be full on heels, and Danielson will be a babyface when he comes back, and they'll have some sort of feud against each other or something. But no, dude, I'm with you. I think that Ring of Honor is they've put on. Historically speaking, Ring of Honor has always been the in-ring work rate show. And this looks no different the way that they've set it up. So I'm here for it, dude. And then the next show is tonight, right? So they'll air that tonight, and then y'all can watch the post show here on Fightful. That's gonna be fun to see how that turns out with like they're doing Impact and Ring of Honor post show together now, right? So yeah, watch that tonight, y'all. Make sure to check that out. That show is gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, man, I can't really say much. I don't want to say much more because I know I'm going to start spoiling stuff if I talk too much more about Ring of Honor, because I know where a lot of it's going because I've read a lot of all the spoilers. So,
A-Shock asks, do you think Danielson works Supercard of Honor? I'm kind of selling myself on the idea that he might. I don't know who, because he wasn't part of the first batch of tapings. I don't know if they're doing. It feels like they're going to do another batch of tapings simply because the first batch seemed like, oh, okay, if you're doing 1 hour shows, sure, you've done 4 weeks of television, but they're doing 2.5 hour shows. Now it's like, oh, okay, well, you've only done 2 weeks of television. But I also think Danielson just might take time off. I could see him like, look, hey, show up, work a random match. Zack Sabre Jr. is a good shout if that's the way they want to go with that. Zack Sabre Jr. did on the show last week kind of call out Danielson and be like, I'm the best technical wrestler in the world. So very simple story to tell there, where Danielson doesn't even have to work the television shows. You could just have Zack Sabre Jr. tap out a bunch of people on television, call out Danielson every week. Finally, at Supercard of Honor, Zack Sabre Jr. is in the ring, call out Bryan Danielson, and lo and behold, we get Bryan Danielson. And then it's not Final Countdown, Tony Khan. Pay up. Pay up for the one-time ROH return.
Yes.
Bryan Danielson, Final Countdown. Pay up on it. I understand you don't want to pay because it costs a lot to use it like 10 times. And, if we can't use it every week, why are we going to do it? Pay up for the one time for the ROH return. That's all I care about. Oh, yeah, I could see him working Supercard of Honor against Zack Sabre Jr. setting it up. And just how I explained to set it up.
Yeah, I could. I think everything you said is totally possible. Shout out Blake Christian. He's who DSJ beat on the show. Good to see those guys too, like kind of the GCW dudes, like Blake Christian and Tony Deppen and those guys is like a part of it. So they got a really good mix of talent. I know like they got Willie Mack's going to be involved and stuff. Like there's a lot of people I really like that are kind of like in between stuff, either coming off of a run on Impact or like mainly in GCW or not really on TV too much and stuff. There's Ring of Honor, I think, is going to be a really we're still trying to figure out exactly where their place in the wrestling landscape is overall, but I think it looks really promising from what I'm seeing. So
it's a strong debut, and there seems to be a lot of buzz around the second show as well. Obviously, it'll be maintaining that will be the most difficult thing because there is so much wrestling, and AEW, I think, for Tony Khan is going to take priority. Although I got beef with Phil Lindsay because Tony Khan was about to wrap up this press conference and Phil is like, tell me about booking. And of course, anytime you ask Tony about booking, that's a 10-minute answer. It doesn't matter what it has to do with it. It's a 10-minute answer if it's about booking. Tony had so much joy talking about how he was booking ROH compared to AEW and just like the relaxed way he could just book ROH of like, I didn't got to worry about like sponsors. I don't have to worry about like time constraints. I don't have to worry about like hitting certain outs and things like that. Like it sounded like or like quarter hour ratings. Like, oh, I need to place this here because it's going to do about it. Like he just seemed like it was so free and flowing for him to just put together ROH that I felt that joy and excitement for Tony, that he had so much joy and excitement booking ROH. So I think he'll continue to have fun with that. And there's certainly less pressure booking ROH compared to booking AEW for him as well. But overall, AEW is going to take priority because AEW is the one that's making the money for him. So we'll see how ROH looks kind of after Supercard. And then when they're building to the next show and what they're able to do with that. The debuts typically go well. Maintaining the interest is always the thing in like any type of sports entertainment aspect, right? Like the premiere typically does well. After that, what do you do to hold that interest and retain that audience? So
and look at Rampage, I mean, it happens everywhere. It happens to even the best companies for sure.
Yeah. So, but promising start for ROH, and I look forward to watching more of that. Jensen, your other spotlight is former guest of the show, John Hennigan, John Morrison, Johnny Underground, Johnny Major League, winning the National Openweight Championship from Davey Richards in a match that I think aired 2 years ago, or was taped 2 years ago. It finally aired, but John Morrison winning this belt from Davey Richards. What do you think of the match? And then John Morrison being the champion.
I mean, great match. These two guys are, they're Johnny Spotlight, as Kai says. Yes, very, very true. But I mean, Davey Richards is still one of my favorite guys to watch in the world. Like, he goes out there, just puts on great, just pro wrestling matches, And then let's call him Hennigan for now. I'll probably slip up and call him Morrison a bunch, but he, I mean, he's still like what you expect to see out of him. He goes in and just completely delivers, And I like the pairing of him and Cesar Duran and Taya Valkyrie, and that's how he won the title. By the way, is Taya hit like she's got the women's featherweight belt. She hit Davey to help Morrison win and stuff. So I already did it. Hennigan win. But it was so funny because as I was catching up on before I do the weekender on Sundays, I'll catch up on anything that I missed over the week. So like for MLW, if I haven't seen it yet, I'll watch the show like that morning or like the night before or something. Same with like 205 Live, NXT Level Up, because it's like a 1 hour show and like a big chunk of it is just like a Raw recap usually or something. So like it's realistically like a 30-minute show. It's really digestible, really easy to watch. So like as I was tuning into MLW, I was like, they're hyping up, the debut of John Hennigan, and when Taya Valkyrie's talking about how she can't wait to see the debut of Hennigan and stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking like, debut. I'm like, back in October already, yeah, like you debuted like this is like half a year ago already. It was just so crazy to think about. But on the show that we're watching, yes, he is now making his debut. But no, good for Hennigan. I just thought it was good to see. I think he's gonna do good with the belt, and he'll have good matches, and I'm sure him and Richards will run it back and stuff. Luckily, the results were so long ago for a lot of the stuff that I legitimately don't remember until I rewatch it. So it's all what's old is new again. But yeah, shout out to the John Hennigan for becoming the MLW National Openweight champion.
We'll see what happens with MLW. They have Underground, which is on Reels for reportedly 10 weeks, which I think they're on week 4 right now. So that could be finishing up here in the next month and a half. And then, Reels signed the deal with Peacock to have live streaming, but they can't get MLW live streaming because WWE has exclusive rights with Peacock. So MLW is they always got that carrot, just the dangling carrots of like, just need that TV deal, kind of like Impact back in the day. We just need more promotion, more buzz, bigger TV deal, more be in more homes and everything. Not be in sport, be in more homes. This is what we need, and like they get there and it's like immediately yanked away. They were on like the Zone for a cup of coffee. They did like a pay-per-view and everything. Then they were back on YouTube and stuff. I think their biggest issue is legitimately like their airing matches from 6 months ago with a lot of stuff. It's like,
they've already,
it's tough to care about your product when Karrion Kross, who has been back in WWE since August, is wrestling on your program in February.
Right, for sure. And we've talked about that plenty over the last year plus or whatever we've been doing the show. When we talk about MLW, it hurts their product tremendously because the buzz for when stuff happens dies down, and no one knows where to find the show by the time it airs, and they change platforms all the time, and nothing really airs live. So they already taped. I don't remember which pay-per-view it is. Fight Club or Fightland. They already taped that. Like, that's been over a month ago. So they're talking about building matches right now on the show for a pay-per-view or like a live event or whatever they're going to call it, pay-per-view or whatever. Like, it's all so behind that, like, it just makes things so confusing. If you try to follow in real time. But it's yeah. But anyway, listen, I like the MLW product. I think they have a lot of good talent there. Their storylines generally make sense, in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's not like they have a bad show. They just united the SGC, Warner and Manders and Warner, Manders, and Justice are all like together on MLW now and stuff. Like there's people I like on the show, plenty of people I like on the show. But yeah, it'd be nice if we could watch it either live or like a lot closer to live than like, half a year ago or whatever.
For sure. Let's get to our indie spotlight.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Big motherfucking shout out to the Motor City Machine Guns winning more gold. Yeah, the GCW Tag Team Champions now. The Motor City Machine Guns winning the titles from Los Macias this past weekend. Jensen, thoughts on the match? And Motor City, one of the greatest of all time, now with another accolade to their name.
Absolutely. I think that, obviously, if you're Game Changer Wrestling, if you're Brett Lauderdale, if you have access to Motor City Machine Guns, even if it's just for like a couple shows, put the tag titles on them. Like they're already, and what's so great about those guys is they're equally established as singles guys. Like Alex Shelley on the indies right now is one of the top, single stars on the independent scene. Chris Sabin, whenever Shelley isn't around, Chris Sabin's one of the top singles guys in Impact. And then when they're together collectively, they're the top tag team in Impact or the top tag team wherever they're at on the indies. Like it's so awesome that those two guys can be so diverse and be so reliable in every scenario. And you always know you're going to get good matches. They're always credible. They're always over. This was their GCW debut. And it wasn't like they came in and were getting booed or people didn't know who they was. They're just as over as anyone else on the show. The people popped when they won the titles. Like they're going to be good GCW tag champs as long as they're, a part of the show. I have no idea how long they're going to be a part of it or if they'll have some sort of Moxley type deal where they'll be there long-term, but just kind of sporadically. I'd imagine they'll be a part of the collective. They'll probably run it back with Miedo Extremo and Ciclope, Los Pazizos. I'd imagine they'll run that back. The night before, by the way, it was badass. Ciclope and Extremo wrestled the SAT, the Maximo brothers, like the original SAT. And Mazizos beat SAT with a Spanish Fly. Like they beat them with their own finishing move, which I thought was pretty badass. So there's been a lot of great tag team stuff going on in GCW. And someone in the chat might know it. I always forget the name of the Motor City Machine Guns finisher. It's like the double one-winged angel thing that they do. It's like a double assault driver off their shoulders. I cannot for the life of me think of the name off the top of my head for some. And I'm almost positive it has to do with the area they're from. It's like I can't remember the name of it, but that's what they use to beat Miedo Extremo and Ciclope for those titles. And shout out to Motor City Machine Guns, MCMG, dude. They're legitimately one of the best tag teams of all time, in my opinion. Especially if you want to narrow it down to even more niche to teams that never had a shot in AEW or WWE. Really, they're probably the best.
It's them and Briscoes.
Briscoe. Well, I guess I almost count the Briscoes because they weren't allowed on AEW. So that's you're right though. You're right. The Briscoes and Motor City would be the two top teams I think that have never worked in those companies.
Yeah. And I've said this before, a lot of people credit the Young Bucks for popularizing, a certain style and stuff. And the Young Bucks credit Motor City of we just kind of nerfed their style a little bit. They were doing a lot of these tag team moves and stuff that, we started doing because we saw them do it. It's hey, this is what tag team wrestling could be. And, they, of course, took it to a grander stage and started doing even more than Motor City. But they credit Motor City for just kind of that style in general.
I think they also, by the way, just really quick, also, you notice in their matches, the Young Bucks use a lot of Motor City moves. They'll use their tag team moves as tributes to them pretty often. So.
Yeah, so the Young Bucks have no problem saying these are the guys who you got to be crediting for if you want to credit us. Other indie spotlight is Hunter Drake winning the New South Hoss tournament. Jensen, do you want to break news regarding Hunter Drake?
Yeah, I don't like to throw it out there until it happens though. I'm like you, but I'll put it out there because I know he's excited and if something falls through, we'll make it happen either way. So the plan is next week, right here on the Spotlight, we will be interviewing Hunter Drake to come on and talk about his career and winning the Heart of the Southern 16 Hoss tournament. So we figured we'd talk a little bit about his win because it hasn't aired yet on Pro Wrestling TV. But hopefully it airs next week or between now and then, and we can y'all can watch it. But either way, the plan is to interview Hunter Drake and have him on the show for y'all to hear next week. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And he sounds really excited for it as well. So he's a guy I've been following for a long time. He's still young in his career, but we'll talk about all that when we interview him. But yeah, shout out to Hunter Drake. And do you want me to talk a little bit about kind of his road to winning this thing? Because we have the results, obviously.
Yeah.
So to win the Haas tournament, this is a tournament from New South Wrestling out of I don't know where they actually did the show out of. It's usually out of Alabama, but this is out of Florence, Alabama. And in the first round, Hunter Drake defeated Marcus Dillon. And then in the second round, he defeated Myron Reed, which obviously that's a really big win right there. Myron Reed's one of the best guys in the scene. And the main event, the finals match is a 4-way match, which came down to Hunter Drake defeating Brogan Finlay, Dylan McQueen, and Stallion Rogers, who y'all might remember as Kurt Stallion. So there was a ton of talent throughout this whole tournament. Shout out to our boy Vinny Pacifico. He was in this thing. We talk about Brogan Finlay quite a bit with Bobby Flacco here in like this interview you're about to hear. So there's a lot of overlap between a lot of the talent that works New South, works Action Wrestling, works SCI, SUP, all these kind of companies. And yeah, this is a really big win for Hunter Drake because once again, we'll talk about it more when we interview him, but his career trajectory has been very interesting because he kind of at least got on my radar as a tag team with this guy, Tyler Franks, who they called themselves the Talladega Knights, and they got over as like this massive like babyface tag team because the two guys are so young and like they got really good really quickly together, and they broke apart. Hunter Drake was a big part of the Last Laugh stable, which was a big part of the Southeast First IWTV series. He was in the group with Nick Iggy and Kenzie Page and Dylan McQueen, and they were a big part of that show. And Hunter Drake has really established himself recently as like a singles guy. And this Haas tournament, in my opinion, is the biggest thing he's done in his career up to this point, and a real launching pad for him potentially. So, and he's a guy who's also been popping up in GCW lately and stuff too. So like, yeah, really, really big win for Hunter Drake and a real vote of confidence because the Haas tournaments is a prestigious tournament and they don't pick just anybody to represent that company and win that thing. So, big deal for Hunter Drake to win this.
I'm looking forward to talking to him. I know you are very tapped in to the Southeast scene and everything. I'm less tapped into that, but I will say like the people in the Southeast scene, very kind people. Just they're very good about sending me results. I apologize. I don't want to put this out there. But,
shout out Cabana Man Dan. You just say it.
Cabana Man Dan is a very good person. Carmen Michael, who does the commentary. Sure. Yeah. Like he is great about like sending results and everything like that. And, I saw him like support the interview that we've done with Bobby and things like that, but he's been very kind to me. So, he's
really good as well, by the way. Carmen's gotten I know, cause I knew about him through Mose because him and Mose had been doing commentary together a while back. And Mose was telling me, he's like, man, I've been working with this kid. He's like really energetic. He's really, I don't want to talk too much inside baseball. Me and Mose, like our personal conversations and stuff. But Carmen came with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, and I think he's gotten really good at what he does. So if he hears this, good work, Carmen. Man, I like hearing you doing your thing.
The South guys are very, very kind, and I always say it like, hey, if you want your promotion covered, DM me. I'll run results. I'll run promotional material and things like that. We want to do what we can to help all the independents kind of get their name out there a little bit more and, try to continue to establish a presence online. But yeah, everybody in the South has been, I assume through you, because you are a great guy, Stephen Jensen, they've been very kind to me as well. They know you'll fight them. You'll beat them up for me.
No, that's definitely not. No, you tell them to beat me up at shows. Dude, I'm always watching my back. Like when I'm at these shows, if anyone ever bumps into me, I'll get the occasional person who will recognize me from Fightful. It doesn't happen very often, but occasionally, especially if I'm wearing like a Cody Rhodes hoodie or like a Fightful hoodie or something, people are like, oh shit, that's, but like, occasionally someone will come up behind. It actually happened. It happened with Trey Lamar actually at at Battle Slam during the last battle or 2 Battle Slam shows ago. I was standing around and he like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, and I was kind of like, I was like, who Jeremy send, you know? And I was like, oh shit, what's up, man? And like, we wound up, I never met him in person, but we'd interacted a lot on Twitter before. But it's funny. The same thing happened at District Championship Wrestling when somebody ran into the back of my leg, like the guy who was running the bar. Yeah, the bartender accidentally ran into the back of my leg with a drink tray or whatever, a roller. And I literally turned around and was like, dude, because you were telling me, you were telling James, you were telling Sheik, like, so I thought someone was actually going to be coming at me. I'm looking around. I'm like, did they tell Billy Gunn? Because Billy Gunn's pretty close by. Like, that guy would kill me. Like, UT Marshall's pretty close by. This guy would kill me. But yeah, man.
I'm going to tell Carmen to get people to jump you next time you're at one of these New South shows or anything like that. Now you go to these shows, Jensen. The hitters out there for you. Have you looking like Jake Paul running from the people I'm sending after you.
Okay.
Oh, did you not see this?
Bro, with the Disney Channel float. No, I saw the Floyd thing.
Yeah. You're looking like him. Jensen, let everybody know where they can find you at here on the socials.
You can find me on Twitter at FightTalk _ FIGHTTALK _. You can use code FightTalk on independentwrestling.tv if you'd like. You can use that as all one word, Fight Talk, put it out in the promo code spot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Me and Jeremy have something cooking, maybe potentially to do more content together soon. We'll keep y'all in the loop on that when we start putting that together. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I got to go clock in for the shoot job. And once again, happy birthday, Brian, my brother. Love you, dude. And I know he doesn't watch this or care about wrestling, but I'll probably see him later tonight. I saw him last night, probably see him today, I'm guessing, whenever I'm off work. And yeah, y'all have a great day. Enjoy this interview with Bobby Flacco. And yeah, and right off the bat, I'm sure Jamie will mention it. We did have some connection issues during the interview with Bobby, video-wise, but the audio is flawless. So bear with us. It's a great interview, a ton of great information. And thanks again to Bobby for joining. Thanks for y'all for joining here in the chat. Good to see you again, Jeremy. And I'm going to go clock in for work.
Yeah, David Buster's, damn it.
Hell yeah.
Have a good day, Jensen. All right, everybody, let's get to our interview with Bobby Flacco. Yes, as Jensen mentioned, the video is a little choppy. It gets frozen every now and again. The audio is completely fine. So everybody can listen to it with no issues. It's just if you're looking for like facial reactions and stuff from him, you might be disappointed as it is frozen a lot. But the audio is great, and that's really what kind of matters, right? It's an audio podcast. People don't want to tune in to see my face. Let's get to it. Bobby Flacco, he is coming off the SCI Scenic City Invitational Rumble victory. He talks to us about motocross, comparing kind of motocross eras and wrestling eras, which I thought was really fun. There's no static, just kind of choppy video. Fortunately, no like audio static or anything like that. It talks to us about motocross, talks about his travels to like South America, which is really interesting to hear about. Talks to us about learning under AR Fox. AR Fox was his trainer, and that's how he got started in wrestling. So good AR Fox stories there. Talks about working in the Thunderdome. He wrestled on 205 Live during the Thunderdome era. So he talked to us about that experience. And then talked about general independent stuff. Teams with Brogan Finlay, who is the son of Fit Finlay as well. So it talks about working with Brogan and being kind of close to the Finlay family. So a lot of good stuff from Bobby in this interview. We really appreciated his time. If you do notice what he is drinking, I think we mentioned this on air. I'll spoil it right here. He's drinking out of red Solo cup. He's drinking chocolate milk out of the red Solo cup, which popped me tremendously because I don't know many people who drink chocolate milk out of a red Solo cup, but I thought that was awesome that's what he had in his cup. So everybody enjoy this interview with Bobby Flacco here on the Creator Spotlight.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Stephen Jensen, as always, with Jeremy Lambert. And today we have the 2023 Scenic City Rumble winner. We have Bobby Flacco. Bobby, thank you for joining us. And welcome to the show.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Feeling good?
Yeah, doing good. And I know you're doing good. Big weekend just happened for you. As I just mentioned, you won the SCI Rumble. You've punched your ticket to the Scenic City Invitational Tournament, a very prestigious tournament, especially here in the Southeast. I'm from Atlanta. That's, which we're going to talk about. I'm very aware of your work, through Action Wrestling and, over the years in this scene. But yeah, just right off the top, man, how's it feel to be the Rumble winner?
Man, it feels really fucking cool. It when you first come up, you try to winning's cool, but I'm a smaller guy, so winning is kind of a thing that you try not to get excited about winning. I don't know if that makes sense or whatever, but it really turned out that I really enjoyed having people have a reason to be excited for me. You feel me? That was just cool, and I definitely felt that when I won that thing, people really wanted me to win it, and it was cool to kind of realize it for the first time. You have a connection or whatever, but when people are happy that something happens for you and genuinely happy when you get a big opportunity like that and you get an opportunity to let them feel good, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. I enjoyed it.
I want to ask about after you won, you're surrounded by the crowd and they're going with you here. And what was that like? That was an awesome moment.
It was sick. I was really trying to take it in because I really think I had struggled to take in those big moments, especially in the ring and in that type of situation. And I was tired, so I sat down. And then when they crowded around me or whatever, it was just, man, it was cool. It was definitely the highlight. After the match, it was definitely the moment there was definitely the highlight of it for me. And everybody says that shit it's about the moments, but not for real. That was cool. That was definitely badass. To feel that connection with them was sick, and I'm glad I was able to do that for sure.
Yeah, well, I expected the big reaction because you've really made a name for yourself for the last, handful of years, especially in the Southeast. And you're one of, if not the most over guys, in action wrestling consistently, which I think is a real testament, honestly, because that's a great crowd. And I love their shows. I think they have a lot of great talent, really top tier indie in my opinion. And they work so closely with SCI and with SUP and kind of all the surrounding, brother and sister kind of promotions. So is it one of those things where have you been feeling the momentum really building and you kind of feel you're really kind of peaking right now in certain ways?
I definitely think I'm reaping the benefits of work right now. I don't know. Peak's kind of a strong word that I try to stay away from. I think I'm a long ways away from that, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially honestly, in the ring. There's a lot of guys that are a lot better than me in the ring, but I just think things are kind of coming together, with the character shit, with the motocross stuff. I think that's doing huge for me. I just think that, and I'm glad it's coming now when I'm a little bit more solid now that I don't have to rely on it, I don't have to be just a dirt bike guy. I can have hard work's just starting to pay off a little bit, I guess, you know what I mean, for lack of a better term. And it's cool to see it for sure.
Yeah, that's really more so, I guess, really what I was meaning to ask. And I guess I really didn't mean to ask if you felt as if you were peaking, but I guess really more so if things were really coming together right now. Because it really does feel that way, especially because and I'm gonna get Jeremy get some questions in, but I know, Jeremy, you go ahead. I got plenty of stuff I want to get to. So.
Well, I was going to ask, you mentioned the motocross. I'm not going to wait on that. I want to know the motocross background and everything, because I'm going to throw a name out there. I was a big motocross fan growing up. Jeremy McGrath, that was my guy. And that's what I got into it. And I didn't keep up with it a lot, but I'd watch him on the X Games and everything. So what got you started in motocross?
Man, actually a friend of my dad's got me started in motocross. I started racing when I was racing dirt bikes at 4 years old. When I was 4, I started, but I ended at 8. So, it's just it's an expensive sport, and it's a lot to ask of a family. But that's why I'm just dicking around with them now. But I was into them all, man. Jeremy McGrath was the GOAT when I was coming up, but right when I was really getting into it, it seems like we're talking about wrestling now. Right when I was really getting into it was when Ricky Carmichael was coming around.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Ricky Carmichael.
I do.
He's the definite GOAT now. And that was that era. And then it was Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart and Chad Reed, which, fuck, man, I could talk about that little era of motocross forever. It was epic. It was epic, man. And, dude, people talk about that era and they make up a good point. I think we could apply to wrestling. When you got those 3 peak motocross racers, they're making fucking millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they're into each other's characters, and like they fucking kind of hate each other in like a lot of way. But the point is like the money. Nobody gives a fuck about motocross anymore because people don't make money. And like, I think that's something that could be applied to like wrestling in like a little bit of a way. I don't know. I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah, like the Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, like that was the era for sure.
I don't know much about motocross, but I definitely remember Ricky Carmichael because I remember my friend had a birthday party. We went and saw that at the Georgia Dome like a long time ago, and it was awesome. Like I'll never forget that. I remember Ricky Carmichael was like the main guy.
Oh, dude, you should fucking go to. I think they do it at Atlanta Motor Speedway now. I'm gonna try to go this year. I can't remember when it is, but it's in Atlanta this year, or it's in Atlanta every year. And I think they got a couple of dates, and I'm gonna try to go to one for sure. Supercross is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I remember watching a lot of Step Up at the X Games. I love that competition. Okay. And then that was McGrath. I would watch him. And then they added all the events to everything, all the different like races and stuff. And then they of course did Best Trick, and Travis Pastrana would do some crazy stuff. But yes, during that time I was into it. Ricky Carmichael, definitely a name that I remember because I think he won like the first, like when they added racing to the X Games, like Carmichael would win that. So yeah, I definitely remember that era. But talk to me more about like comparing it to wrestling. So what would you say is like kind of the peak wrestling for you as like peak? If peak motocross is the Ricky Carmichael era, like what is sort of peak wrestling? Like, hey, this is when like it was at its most popular. Everybody was making that money, and everybody was like really hooked into it.
That's tough because I want to say like that same era of wrestling, but that's because I was a kid and like. That's how everybody feels. Does that like make sense? Because you think whatever, like, because it's like the 2007, 8, 9 or whatever, like maybe a little bit earlier, 2, 3, 4, like that feels like it for me. But that's also when I was like a kid and watching it. It feels like it's big right now. Like I don't know, that might not be what everybody thinks right now, but I think that just everything is huger right now. You know what I mean? But for me, like I said, it's a tough one because like that like peak to me in my definition, like personally, is that same era with like the Rey Mysterio, the JBL, the Eddie, the John Cena, that type of stuff. But it feels a little personal. I'm not gonna lie, it feels a little personal.
I think for people like us growing up, I think I can speak for Jensen here. We grew up like Attitude Era, like felt like peak Austin Rock and everything. It's like, oh, it's never gonna get bigger than this. But I think in some ways, like you're right, like nowadays it does feel bigger in just the overall scope of it. And now we have two major companies again, and social media is such a big thing to where it feels like so many people are talking about it, even though television ratings are what they are and everything, and they might be down compared to the Attitude Era stuff. But yeah, I would imagine like whenever you're growing up, that's when it feels like the absolute biggest, and through nostalgia eyes, like everything feels like the biggest at that time when you're growing up. But is it, so that's when you got into wrestling, like the JBL, the Rey Mysterio, like who was the Cena, like who was the guy that like you saw and you're like, okay, I'm into this. I dig this.
I like started going back to like WWE.com when it was like that Rey and JBL time when I could watch those highlights. Cause like my dad watched it all the time, or not all the time. I would watch it sometimes with my dad, like on Monday, but my mom didn't have TV. So I would just go on WWE.com, and like, that is the era. Specifically, I remember just watching JBL and Rey highlights, and then that was like the Eddie and like the Booker T and like that type of just that era for sure.
It's funny that you got in during the JBL era because so many people, while that was happening, like kind of like my era fan, which is just a little bit older than like we're talking probably like I got into it kind of like mid 90s, so we went through the Attitude Era, all that stuff. And then a lot of people like despised the JBL title run, like of my generation. We thought that he was like the worst champion. We're not going to watch the show anymore. But honestly, like in hindsight, and you could say that about a lot of the ruthless aggression era type stuff. In hindsight, I think looking back, like that stuff was actually a lot better than how I felt about it. And it was only because I was coming off of thinking that it couldn't get any bigger than like Goldberg and The Rock and Hollywood Hogan and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think everything we're talking about like is totally true.
Yeah, that perspective for sure. You look back and you're like, I was a little younger, so I like really hated JBL. You know what I mean? But yes, that perspective.
I'm gonna switch gears, to getting back to more current wrestling in your career a little bit. You wrestled in 205 Live in part of the ThunderDome era. What was that experience like?
The infamous ThunderDome. It was cool. It just it came from just a little series of my career where I was getting a lot of extra work or whatever, and I just dropped a little hint that I'd be in town a little longer. I never lived in Florida, but I was there for a long time, and I told the dude I'd be around for a little longer, and it just came up. They needed somebody for 205 Live. They needed 3 people for 205 Live, and I was able to do it. Yeah, it was sick. I learned a lot. I wasn't near, I know business being there, you know what I mean? But it was cool. I got to learn a lot. I got to take in a lot. The ThunderDome is wild, and it's cool. I can know not a lot of people can say that, you know, they got to work in the ThunderDome, so that was cool.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the stuff? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna ask some of the stuff that you learned. You mentioned you learned a lot in like a short time there. Some of the stuff you can talk about.
Oh man, man, I got like a crazy lesson in selling there. I was just doing like that's the reason I said it out loud, because it was huge for me. Like, and I'm trying to like figure out a way to put it. Like, you know, I was just making it too hard, like just doing like the weird face thing, and like I was knocked out all the time, and like, you know what I mean, like weird flipping around and doing weird shit with my body, when you can just like touch your whatever hurts, and like feel like have a good face on you, and like look into somebody's eyes and be like, dude, this shit fucking hurts, you know what I mean? And I just was able to get that lesson at a bigger stage there, so it was cool to like, sink it in. You know what I mean?
Was there anyone in particular that you want to like shout out that, like, you know, people would know that maybe gave you some advice?
Honestly, it was people who watched it, and who watched me after that little period, and I don't want to talk about who was in like the backstage or whatever.
That's fine.
Somebody who said it, a guy who said it again, and you know my dumb ass, I got to hear everything fucking twice. The person who said it the second time was Leon Ruff, and that's my fucking guy. And I think I've switched a little gear since then as well. That wasn't like directly after 205 Live, but I was like still doing that same shit. And like when two people like say something to you, you know what I mean? Like it really clicks.
The 205 Live, or ThunderDome era, they weren't like bringing in a ton of people during that either, like a ton of extra, because of obviously the COVID stuff. So to be on during that, what was it like wrestling just in the ThunderDome in front of the screens? There's no crowd there or anything.
Dude, it was different. Shit. It was during COVID, so it was better than fucking nothing. You know what I mean? It was like it was during the time when I was wrestling, we were in front of no people sometimes, so it was better. It was different. It was like, you know what I mean? A lot of that shit, but it was definitely better than nothing. I kind of appreciated it a little bit now that I think about it.
Is there anybody that you've shared the ring with, and maybe it was the 205 Live experience, of when you wrestled them and just something clicked maybe in your head of like, okay, like I'm here, I belong. And you mentioned that, you know, you haven't peaked yet or anything, but it just clicked of like, hey, I'm good at this, and I can see myself doing this for just a very long time.
I think that there's a lot of clicking in my head moments for sure. Wrestling Kurt Stallion at Action One was a long time ago, and it wasn't one of like that. Like it was less validation and more like, well, kind of validation. Like for me, learning a lesson is a good validation. You know, like learning by doing. You know what I mean? It's not that I did so good, but like I did do good, and I did do the right thing. So by doing that, I fucking like learned that. Is that weird? Like, does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, you talk to people afterwards and stuff like that. But so I guess you're right. It was really validating in a way, but also like you realize the good and the bad you're doing. You know, it's just as good to know the good things you're doing as the bad, for sure.
Someone I definitely wanted to ask you about that you're closely linked to is Brogan Finlay. Y'all obviously Airbnb you know, kind of what are your thoughts on Brogan? I just kind of want, because he's a name that I feel like is like still really under the radar, but obviously he's the son of Fit Finlay, and you know, it's like it's one of those things where like I feel like he has a bright future, and I kind of saw like I feel like I might have even seen his first match like ever. I feel like I was watching him in like Action Wrestling when he had like no matches. So if you want to talk a little bit about Brogan, just to kind of let people know kind of your team and your relationship with him.
Dude, I guess I talked about selling already, so it's whatever. But not me and I grew up with the Finlay family. I went to we all went to the same high school, and I'm actually David's age. I'm the same age as David, but he was like, yeah, I'm the same age as David. So me and Brogan go back fucking like more than 10 years. Way more than 10 years, you know what I mean? So it's all really super duper duper surreal. And I think talking about those lessons, like I've really gotten a lot of those good lessons recently working with Brogan, and not only working with Brogan, but being around to hear how Brogan's family feels about the match. I don't want to go, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Being around to hear the critiques from that side of the family has been tremendous for myself, and I think for Brogan. So that's like it's less matches and more just like little eras of my career. That's definitely like a little, when I started teaming with Brogan and like having matches and programs with Brogan is really a huge click for me, you know, because you know, you can say what you want about him. He's a fucking kid, so give him a break, first of all, you know what I mean? And also he's just got, you know, there's just an undeniable like knowledge that him and his family have, and like he's you know, he's getting so good in the ring right now, you know what I mean? And it's only up for Brogan for sure, dude. It's only up for Brogan, and I really I'm appreciative of the relationship I have with their family. David and I were on the high school wrestling team together, and so we, like, his family was always there bringing snacks and all that shit. So yeah, it's even just interesting like that we all ended up wrestling, you know what I mean? When I was a kid, I thought you had to be like David and Brogan to wrestle, you know what I mean? But then I saw like training schools and stuff. So, and like we've always been friends, you know what I mean? It's been an interesting development and a cool relationship for sure.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, speaking of training, you're trained by AR Fox, who's, you know, one of the best as well, of course. So, like, how did like that come together? And also, I mean, having that opportunity of like having the Finlays around, I mean, that's what opportunities that you have there that most people just would never have access to.
Oh, dude, I should be way farther, right?
No. You're going. This is a testament to how good you are so fast. So
I'm so fucking lucky, dude. And I'm so lucky with Fox too, because like I didn't do like my research or nothing like that. I had a friend, you've seen him at Action Garuda. He's from Noonan too. Noonan too. He's friends with them. Well, I was saying, yeah, I was just doing whatever, fucking living life, and Garuda starts training at the WWA 4. And I eventually just go up there and start checking into it and checking it out, and eventually join and start training. I loved Fox's vibe. I loved the atmosphere. It was in a fucking strip club. It was like in the back of a strip club that won the WWA 4 back in the day on Fulton Industrial. Like, it's a crazy little neighborhood. I loved it, and I'm lucky that. Like I said, I didn't do my research, so I'm lucky that Fox turned out to be one of the best in the world for real. He's the guy, and I'm super honored to have the relationship that I have with Fox, and it's helped me a lot.
How does it feel seeing the kind of that's the word I'm looking for? He's been around a long time, you know, and a lot of people knew him through Lucha Underground, but like, kind of the I don't know if the respect's the right word, because the respect's always been there, but I guess he has a lot of eyes, and a lot of people are talking about he's on AEW now. Like, how does it feel to see all that?
Dude, it feels good, man. It feels good to just feel him. Oh, man. I just love Fox so much, bro. It feels good to be able to know that he's good, man. I mean, he's always, the school's been there always, and to just know that like he's made it. You know what I mean? Like nobody puts more into this shit than fucking Fox. Like nobody. And he puts everything into the school and everything into his matches. And to have been able to do the Evolve tours with him and like, and then to see him now, bro, it's just amazing. And like he's enjoying the fuck out of it, and that's like the best part. You know, it's like a Cinderella shit. You know, you couldn't be happier for fucking Fox, man. I'm super happy.
I mean, you mentioned jokingly, I think, like you should be further along. Everything. I think AR Fox is a testament of like there's no quick journey to a lot of this stuff, because AR Fox should have been on television years ago. And he finally just made it this year. And like, it is great to see all that pay off for him. So please do not be hard on yourself of like, I should be further along. I hope that was an actual joke.
Nah, I'm just fucking around, dude. Nah. And it's inspirational too. It's like, it's almost like seeing Fox eat right now just goes back to the way it fucking used to be. Like you got to put a lot of fucking work in, and you got to be for real one of the best if you want to be treated like Fox is being treated right now. You know what I mean? And I think it just took from the stories, like I know, like it only took like that from for people telling Khan about Fox, but then once they figured out who he is and what he's capable of, and he's friends with, bro, everybody in that bitch, everybody in that shit, and that has a huge amount of respect for him. And as soon as he figured that out, like he was given that spot that he deserved. And I guess that what I'm trying to say is like, it's good to see that when you do put that work in and you do become that person, that reward does happen for somebody like Fox. And it's just fucking sick to see.
With the Scenic City tournament coming up, like who do you have your eye on of like, I want to, get in the ring with this guy and see what they're about?
I guess I'll have to see who's coming, right?
Well, call somebody out right now, and maybe it'll lead to them being there.
We'll get in the year of Scott Hensley, and we'll start telling people who won the tournament, and we'll just get this whole thing put together. No, but I mean, I know you've mixed it up with a lot of the people that I'm expecting to be there. But I mean, they always bring in surprises as well. So yeah, I'm interested to know who you'd like to wrestle in that thing.
Oh man, dude, I don't know. I don't know.
We can manifest these things. I'm big into manifestation. We can manifest this.
Oh, dude, if there's one thing I like less than putting myself over, it's fucking manifesting things, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, brought up the wrong thing. Oh, shit. My bad.
I love that. That's so funny.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to call nobody out, bro, but I appreciate the spirit of what you're asking for sure. I don't know, man. It'll be a lot of it. I'm super fucking excited, and I know they always bring the best of the best. Like if you look at all the tournaments from the years past, like you look at Garcia, Myron Reed, they're just always bringing in for real the best of the best. And that's my favorite thing about that whole little circle is not only do they bring like, at least an attempt at a quality production, like they really just fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody making no money at this shit. And or at least, you know what I mean? I don't want to say it like that, but nobody's getting rich off of this shit. And they really just care about, like, us. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see who they're going to bring for sure. And I'm sure they're going to bring somebody at a high level that we can all learn from. I hope so. And I hope I get to wrestle somebody I can fucking learn from. That's what I want to say, Scott Hensley. Yeah. Give me somebody I can learn a big-ass lesson from.
Dude, you never know, man. They bring in so many people. Like you said, you got like the Daniel Garcias of the world. But I mean, one year they brought in Nick Gage, wrestled in a high school gym there. I mean, it was nuts. So anyone could show up at that thing. Speaking of people who could probably show up, someone who shows up at all the action shows, and someone who showed up on our show at least 4 times now. I think 4 times. I want your opinion on this guy. One of the Action Wrestling commentators, Jumpin' Johnny Mosley, is a regular here on this show. Give a shout out to Mose here on the show, if you would, Flaco.
Oh, dude, Mose knows he's my fucking guy, man. I fucking love Mose. I appreciate what he brings to the table,
Yeah. How important is it to have guys like Mose and Dylan and those kind of guys like on commentary, helping kind of tell y'all stories?
It's vastly important. It's so important. Damn, I'm real spoiled at the moment with a lot of like good commentary and stuff like that. But once you like everybody's heard it bad, and great commentary is even better from guys like Dylan and Dylan and Mose too. You know what I mean? And it's even better when you get to know them. It's even better when you get to know them, and you can feel the emotion. They really get into what's happening for you. You know, Dylan's good at really good at telling the story they're trying to tell over however long the broadcast is. You know, I just appreciate the fuck out of them both. They're good dudes, for sure.
Has Mose ever taken you to Sonic?
Nah, I haven't had the pleasure.
Okay, that's a deep cut on our show. Yeah,
that is. It's very. Have you been to Sonic? Like, what's your favorite Sonic order?
You know, I think they got tots, right?
Yeah, they do. They got good tots.
I normally get something toddy over there.
Yeah,
something they got weird shit like corn dogs and stuff. I'll get something like that. I'm probably not gonna try to get a big old meal at Sonic, but
yeah, Mose told a story about getting ice cream with Nick Gage at Sonic one time, and it's just it's very, very random. That's two random Nick Gage stories back to back that had nothing to do with this, but yeah, man, I've got all these dream matches in mind, but I feel like I've seen you wrestle so many of the guys already. Another one of the guys that's come on a few times, Cole Radrick, you wrestled him recently on GCW Settlement Series. What's it been like to see? You got like a whole group of y'all that I feel like have just over the last like 5 years or so have just like come up together from all over these different parts of the world. And I just feel like this whole kind of new wave is happening because people are always going to be getting signed. There's always going to be spots opening. So I see guys like you, I see guys like Cole, and a lot of the people we're talking about, guys like Eric Royal, who you eliminated last in the SCI Rumble. Like, how's it feel to just be a part of this whole kind of just next wave?
It's great, man. I'm super fortunate. That's a match that Cole asked for at GCW, so I was very honored to have that. And we're gonna like run it back again. And he not only did he ask for that shit, it was a show where it was after JCW. Yeah, we had both wrestled on JCW right before that.
Yeah,
and he was in like a lucha fucking double death trying 9 tag team something. He was in some shit, and he comes limping back like, "All right, what do you want to do, brother?" Like, I just can't. I don't even know how to say like how much that means to me. You know what I mean? And I know we're gonna do it again, and I'm super duper looking forward to it. That's a good dude for sure.
You should do it at the next SpongeBob tournament that I'm gonna bully Cole Radrick into running, the Smitty Worgen Jager Hand Manson tournament part 2 that he's told me he's gonna run in Indiana. So bully him into doing that if you don't mind. Jensen, you got to get in on this as well. We're gonna get Bobby booked, and we're gonna get this SpongeBob tournament part 2. I want to switch gears from pro wrestling for a second. Besides motocross, like, what do you like to do in your downtime?
I've fucking got real into traveling recently. I've gotten my life to where I can like work or wrestle and go towards like the next travel. So I'm super excited about all that shit.
I saw the Costa Rica vlog. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I went and I took a week in Costa Rica. I've done like Peru and Chile. I wrestled in Chile before. But I did Costa Rica just because I got a friend out there. I don't know if you guys watched the end of Evolve, there's a referee called Kai Douglas who we became homies with, and he goes to Costa Rica a lot. And I eventually just got a ticket and fucking went with him too. And I've been trying to space the blogs out a little bit. We spent like a week there. So I just dropped the one about we rented motorcycles and like went to Panama or to the Panama border and shit like that. We got sprayed by crop dust planes, like the fucking like like spraying pesticide on the bananas and shit. We was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh no!
I call it
3 of us just driving motorcycles, just yellow shit all over our goggles and shit. It was wild. It all over my eyes.
Well, what's been like your favorite place to travel so far? 2-part question. And then where's a place that like you really want to go to and you got to make sure, all right, I've got to go here before, in this life?
I got so many places I want to go to. I really enjoyed Peru, and then I really enjoyed Chile. Peru for like a travel thing, and shit, man, fuck, Costa Rica was so cool too, though, man. I could for real live in Costa Rica. It's not like Honduras. It's not like El Salvador. It's there's like no military. It's a very different and interesting culture. I mean, there's bad shit. I got into some fucking shit, but there's just like oh man, pura vida, man. That's what they call it, pura vida. There's just a crazy culture to where like, bro, I did volunteer day, and like at 3:30, that was it. We were done. We were going to the beach. They were like, I was like, what about these paintbrushes? There's like, leave them the fuck there. Leave those paintbrushes there, and we're out. It's 3:30, pura vida. Like, they're nobody's in a hurry. Like, properties affordable, and they got like encouraging things for foreigners to be there. And it's not like a cartel dangerous country. I don't know what the fuck they got figured out. They got something figured out because they still got to go through there. But I don't know what's happening. But
I visited before. It's beautiful out there.
Oh, you've been to Costa Rica?
I've been once. Yeah, I mean, I drank way too many liquid marijuanas at the resort, and I don't remember a ton of it. But I mean, it was.
Did you go to Puerto Viejo?
I honestly can't remember. That's like
was it like in the Caribbean?
I think so.
Was it resorty, but like
yeah,
like Hilton-y, but not like Hilton and all that shit? It was like fucking Bullfrog or whatever, like type shit.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's where I was staying, but we had a Airbnb in the jungle, like how it's like on the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, we was up in the mountain a couple miles, and we were fucking staying up there.
That's awesome, man. We did a little like ATV tour around like the area and stuff. Very, very cool. Yeah, man. That I haven't been to many places because I'm not good on airplanes, and Jeremy knows that as well. But like, so I got to kind of try to keep it local the best I can, or do miles in the car. But yeah, man, that's cool. Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. Did you say Costa Rica or Puerto Rico? I've been to both. Costa Rica. I'm sorry. Yeah. I've been to Puerto Rico as well. Have you been to Puerto Rico?
When I was like in high school, yeah, I went to Puerto Rico. I definitely got to go back soon. That's a real like doable one too.
Yeah, Jamaica is another one. That's like the only other place that I've been to that but it was like once again it was a resort. You unfortunately have to drive through a lot of areas where it's like, oh damn, like what's going on here? And then you get to like the really nice resort, which is like really confusing. It really confused me as a kid being there. But I mean, I do remember it being beautiful at the resort. But I don't know if that's like, is that some like bucket list, other bucket list places that you've got?
Man, I'm still gonna go to Bolivia. I don't know if I'm gonna go this year. Bolivia is a wild, wild country. My friends are going this year. Zinchi is going, and he's got some other dudes going with him. But I'm putting a South America trip together too this year, but I just can't swing Bolivia this time. But it's like a buck wild country. Like you gotta stay at like a couple of days, maybe a week to get the altitude right before you wrestle. Like there's just llamas everywhere. Like you put your llama in a taxi. Like this shit's fucking crazy out there. And it's where all the coke's at. There's like, if you really look up where it's at, it's like Bolivia, Colombia, then Peru. But yeah, there's a lot of wild shit going on in Colombia, and it's like, and then in Bolivia, and it's like very like, I mean, Peru's got the mountains and the rainforest too, but like Bolivia is just wild. It's all over the place. I wanted that challenge for sure. I wanted that big challenge before I go somewhere crazy. Like, I want to go everywhere. Like, I'm going to go to India, South Asia, all that shit. But I think if I can handle Bolivia, then I can handle some other spots too.
It's very adventurous to just go out there, and you don't know what kind of trouble you could get into out there. So I commend you for checking these places out. I was going to ask, like, when you go out there, like, do you always look to wrestle out there, or is it just kind of go out there and just explore, learn new things?
In South America, I'm mostly wrestling. And it's a mixture of both. I'm always looking at kayak, which is like one of those travel apps. And like, if I see a ticket that, I can't refuse, like you might as well take it, but nah, I do try to do it with wrestling a lot, but sometimes not, sometimes just go and be there. but like in some places there's not a lot. Like this year in our South America thing is starting in May, and we're starting in. They're going to Ecuador. I'm not going to Ecuador. I can't. I got 2 minutes. Like I just don't have time. But then it's Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and then they're going to Bolivia. I can't make it to Bolivia, but that's all going to have wrestling in it. So I'm super excited about that. There's a shit ton of wrestling in Chile. That's where most of it's going to be. There's like 1 weekend in Bolivia. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 weekend in Argentina and like 1 weekend in Colombia, but there's a shit ton in Chile. There's a culture there. I'm sure y'all know some guys from Chile. So there's good girls from Chile too.
What's the like craziest venue you've wrestled at, whether it is in a different country or in America?
Huh. Dude, some of the first ones were crazy. Like some of those like antique mall barn type shits. Done some barn type stuff. Definitely been some fancy ones. I really like the Orpheum in Tampa. The Orpheum's cool. I don't know. All the venues in Chile. The venue I was at in Chile was pretty cool for Chile Lucha Libre. It's like half house. It's like you like go open up and it's like, you know, almost sheet metal looking ish little arena where they're selling little fucking stuff on the grill, and then like beyond that, it's like there's just somebody's house kind of just smushed in there to the left right there. So like, you keep going down the hall, like down the right, there's a bathroom, and it's just like interesting. The way people make use of space is cool. Like I noticed in other places too. Like some of the Airbnbs you stay at are just like, I mean, I guess they're compared to, you know, you think about studio apartments here, I guess it's like the same shit. But the way people make use of space out there is wild too.
Speaking of, you know, cool venues, I saw you live at Center Stage in Atlanta at GCW Astronaut. What was that experience like?
Man, you saw which one, the Scramble or the other one?
Scramble. Well, I've been to both. I've been to both the GCW Center Stage shows. I was thinking of the one with like you and Rico. Oh no, so that was a tag team match, wasn't it? I'm thinking of a tag team match. Was it?
Yeah, me and Rico. I'm sorry. We did have. There was like a tag team match the first time, but then we had a Scramble.
That's right. I'm getting the two mixed together, but yes, I saw both. But what was it like? Not just working for GCW, but also at Center Stage in Atlanta.
That shit's huge, bro. I used to go. I went and saw MGK there one time back in the day at Center Stage. So that, and not, you know, and my friends rap too, and they would rap at the smaller venue in Center Stage, but we was at fucking Center Stage. That shit was cool, and that match, man, that shit, bro. It just came together for us, dude. And those are my fucking home. Like I don't think I could pick 6 guys I'd rather have a Scramble with. Like,
yeah,
for real.
It was you, Rico, Brogan, Hunter Drake, Sean Campbell, and Teriyaki. That was the match. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to all those guys. They all got something super special and unique, for sure. For sure. When I found out I was gonna win the Rumble, I was like, all right, I gotta watch Rico because he wins matches really good. He loves it when he wins matches. Like he's good at that. But dude, it was badass, man. And to do the dirt bike shit at Center Stage, bro, it was definitely my favorite match of my life so far, and it was a Scramble. But it was just too much fun. I don't think I've ever felt a vibe like that being in that match. For sure.
It was an awesome match. I hope they bring you back in. They're going to be here next month, Center Stage again. I'm hoping to see you there. And, you know, one of the guys that was in that match was Hunter Drake. Did you see he won the Haas tournament this weekend as well?
That's awesome, dude. Drake's the man out there. Drake's the man out there. He's just so easy to work with and so fun to fucking wrestle. I'm glad he got that shit. For sure.
Yeah, he was another one of those guys I was grinding for a while through like New South. I remember his tag team with Tyler Franks, the Talladega Nights and stuff, and like both of them just sort of kind of like you and Brogan, like, you know, gone off doing your own things now and stuff, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. No, it's beautiful, man. That's a good group of guys for sure.
Do you have any plans for WrestleMania weekend? Are you heading out to LA to be part of any events there?
Yeah, I got my ticket to go out there. Yeah, at this point, I'm on like, I can be in any building with GCW. So at this point, I'm just gonna pull up on them and see what's up, and see how I can help, and see what's popping. I don't think that starts till Thursday. I think I'm gonna go see Violence, go check out Violence and Suffering on that Wednesday show. See what they're talking about. That seems like a really, really good show. But other than that, dude, I don't know. I want to fucking see what LA is about. I've never been to LA. I want to I speak Spanish, obviously. So I want to get in. I want to do some of the music out there. There's a lot of corridos out there, and corridos are like cool. It's one of my favorite types of music. So I want to listen to that shit live.
I've been to LA, brief stopover, and just a touristy Walk of Fame type of thing. That's my only LA experience, but it's obviously going to be a big weekend. It's going to be a packed weekend, and even if you don't have anything, there's so many shows. Just show up and bring your gear. That's a saying, right? Just always bring your gear.
Oh yeah, you gotta bring it with you. I'm just trying to find some cholos in LA and see what's happening there.
Last one before we get you out of here, Bobby. What's the coolest thing in your room?
We ask everyone, so if you can go get it for us, even better. But yeah, coolest thing in your room.
Dude, I barely got a bed, dude. I don't know. That's where I live out on the farm, so that's where I hide my life savings. It's not, hide my pennies. So I guess my little green box is where my weed and my pennies go.
There you go.
Do you have any animals? Do you have any animals on this farm?
Yeah, we got a horse and a couple dogs.
Nice.
It's like 6 or 7 acres. It's like leftover horses because my sister and my grandparents always had horses growing up, and they're like next door. And my sister always rode horses and shit, and she still has a couple that she owns, on another property, but she jumps them and trains them and does all that shit. So we got the leftover one right now. One of them just actually died. One was super old, but we still got a couple horses left here kicking it with us. They're not they're here their feet aren't fucked up, but you can't ride this one's not, you can't ride them, so you don't got they're no good over there, so we let them stay here.
All right, I do have a question. Is that a pinball machine behind you?
Yeah.
Come on now, you have a pinball machine.
It's my stepmom, but it's a Godzilla pinball machine, and it's broken. It wouldn't be collecting dust if it wasn't fucked up.
Okay,
yeah, it's a Godzilla.
I thought it was. And then
quite often.
The second part of that, have you talked to Billy Starks about the farm life? Because according to her dad, that is what she wants to do when she retires.
Yeah, they're just wrestling each other too. It was recent.
Oh man, she's so good. I really enjoyed working here. But yeah, we'll see if she's about it, dude. I fucking especially out where my sister's at. We'll put her the fuck to work. I don't know if she's ever shoveled shit before. That would be awesome to see if Billy can handle a day on the farm.
Her dad said she wants to live on a farm once it's all said and done for her. So you can get her initiated early here. See if she is about the farm life.
See if she's about it. She reminds me of this. I met this European girl in Costa Rica, and she was just going to people's farms and just working on fucking people's farms in Costa Rica. And she's from fucking Iceland or Finland or some shit. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to work on the farm. They have half wild horses, half regular. And I'm like, you're a badass bitch. So if that girl can do that, I think Billy can come to the farm and get it done.
There we go. Hey, look, you got something to talk about next time you see her.
Yeah, for sure.
Bobby, we appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Oh, yo. I think I got it all dialed in. My Instagram is Bobby_Flacco_4. That's where it's all wrestling, wrestling and travel stuff. My YouTube is Bobby Flacco 4, and my Twitter is Bobby Flacco 4. There's a couple of old profiles, but if you look for 4 seconds, you'll probably, I don't even think they come up anymore. But yeah, the YouTube, man. If you guys do anything, man, like fuck with that YouTube, because wrestling's great and all, but I think like doing I think that's a good place to put some marbles of my effort in. So if anybody could support the YouTube, Bobby Flacco for it. It's traveling and wrestling. My most popular videos, I wrestled Allison K one time, and it's got like 100,000 video views, and my travel videos get like 30 views. So we could get those up a little bit.
Guys, all the links are below, so you can in the description of the video click on all the links. Oh yeah, we get the hook up here. We got all the setup. You can click the link below. There you go. Support Bobby. Check out his travel videos. Check out his wrestling videos. Congratulations again on winning the Rumble this past weekend, and look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back here on the Spotlight. We're back. Big thank you to Bobby Flacco. Again, everyone can support Bobby. Check him out. Go check out his Twitter. Go check out his YouTube. All of the links are down there below. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Everybody, go check out all his travels and all his wrestling matches. Big shout out. Big thank you to Bobby Flacco for joining us. Watch the SCI Rumble. It is on IWTV. Everyone can go watch that right now. So go check out the SCI Rumble on IWTV. Use the code Fight Talk. Guys, we'll be back next Thursday. Myself and Stephen Jensen talking all the news in the world of professional wrestling. Until then, I get all these plugs out there. Fightful Overbooked. Head over there. New content daily on that channel right now. Drop today my interview with Cole Radrick, talking about his time on the independent scene. I'm trying to bully him into doing the SpongeBob tournament, as you mentioned, or as you heard me mention, with Bobby Flacco. So go check out Cole. He's a big friend of the show. He's been on the show multiple times. We love talking to Cole. He's the best. Go check out Cole's Twitch channel as well. Shout out to Cole Radrick. He rules. So go check out that interview on Fightful Overbooked. We also have an episode of Indeed that premiered last night with Mike and Reg. Everyone can watch that now. You can subscribe to our podcast feed. We're on all your favorite podcast platforms, or so I've been told. Go subscribe. Leave us some thumbs up on the YouTube. Leave us some 5-star reviews on the podcast channel, along with Indeed, along with my interview with Cole Radrick. We have Tag Talk that is every Monday. We have FMC that is every Tuesday morning. That is myself and SP3 talking about not wrestling. If you just enjoy basketball, the world of reality television, that is the show for you. Tag Talk is Kylie and a special guest. Haley will be back at some point, but talking the world of pro tag team wrestling in the world of professional wrestling. Fridays, we have Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. Saturdays, we have Newsworthy with myself and Joel Pearl talking about articles, the news that you read on Fightful.com. And Sundays is Joel and Tim and Kate +8 recapping the week in wrestling. So new content every single day on Fightful Overbooked. Live shows almost every single day, potentially adding another live show with Stephen Jensen mentioned. We'll let everybody know what's going on with that when we have more details on that. As far as the Fightful schedule here on youtube.com/Fightful, we have Day After Dynamite at 3 p.m. Eastern with Will Washington. I believe Denise Salcedo was on the show today. I will be there. I'm going to level up the show at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's right. Get ready, everybody. Dad gets leveled up today here on youtube.com/Fightful. Later on tonight, we have the ROH post show with Kate and Righteous Reg. Immediately following that same stream, you don't have to click anywhere else, will be the Impact post show with Joel Pearl and Cresta. So that is a singular stream, ROH and Impact review here on youtube.com/Fightful. Head over to Fightful.com. Check out all the news from the day. Head over to FightfulSelect.com. Check out all the breaking news. Otherwise, we will be back next Thursday. Myself, Stephen Jensen, covering the world of professional wrestling, including WWE, AEW, ROH, Impact, New Japan, the Independents, anything and everything we feel like talking about here on the Spotlight. Guys, we appreciate it. We appreciate the love, the support. Everyone, go enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy your Thursday out in the world. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a